It came as flashes in the dark. Vivid memories of sight and sound. The draw of breath with each attack, the hint of desperation at every dodge. The feel of fire in his veins, the feel of sweat stinging his eyes, and pain in his lungs. It was terrifying. It was thrilling. He remembered fighting like a man possessed, his friends at his sides. A war against a god. They say you can't really know what kind of person you are until you are at death's door. For Naruto, well, that happened to be right now. Given what kind of hell they just went through, one could assume Sasuke would be all for calling it a day. Dusting his hands and saying, "Yeah, fuck this, I'm out for now." No one would question it. Hell, most would agree with him. I mean, fighting a god? A nifty spot holder on a resume, but something that would lead most people to call it quits for a day or 50. Naruto was only half surprised when Sasuke went off the deep end again, and revealed his plan to assassinate the Gokage. Don't get him wrong, the assassination thing wasn't surprising. It was the reason why. Bear the world's hate? What an idiot. Naruto conveniently ignored the time when he acted much the same. And so, once more, the two titans clashed. Again in the Valley of the End. Power against power. Steel against steel. Fist against fist. Of course it would have to come down to their signatures. Rasengan and Chidori. Like all the times before, the two attacks gave out before their owners, and both men went blow away from one another. Naruto sans a right arm, Sasuke missing his left. Naruto had to chuckle, even if it was more of a wheeze, at the duality of it. Two sides of the same coin and all. I won't let you beat me like this. Sasuke's voice carried over the roar of the water from the demolished falls. Broken and bitter, angry and loud, Naruto let himself wonder at that. How odd. Sasuke was usually more mild-mannered. If just a bit of maybe it was the blood loss? He turned his head to see Sasuke embedded in the cliff face across from him. The look on Sasuke's face was absolutely loathing. Naruto would have sighed, but his collapsed lung was making it hard enough to breathe. Naruto could feel the world fading around him, color fading in and out as darkness overcame him. Man, what a shitty 17th birthday. Naruto, you have to move, Kurama shouted in his mind. It took Naruto a moment to understand the urgency, before he noticed the makings of a purple circle in the edge of his vision. Ah, so that was Sasuke's plan. Without the old sage or the previous Hokage. Naruto looked up at the sky, drinking in the cloud-covered sun. For all the destruction Sasuke and himself had unleashed, it was a nice day out. Maybe this is why Shikamaru likes cloud watching. One could almost call it peaceful. A void closed around Naruto's field of vision, and all he knew was falling. Sasuke looked at the empty space Naruto had just inhabited, a feeling quite foreign to him taking hold. It wasn't pride. It wasn't joy. Guilt. Guilt ate away at his heart. Sasuke's vision slowly darkened, exhaustion and lack of chakra taking its toll. The last thought on his mind, what have I done? The noise of the falls and the falling of stone was Sasuke's only answer. Followed by the angry roar of the tailed beasts as they were freed from their prisons. Sasuke cursed, even as he blacked out. Because even when he was lost in another dimension, with no way home, Naruto beat him. Falling is a surreal experience. Fear drops into the deepest pit of your heart as you slowly come to terms with the fact that there is nothing to catch you from gravity's embrace. The rushing of wind, the feeling of weightlessness, falling past the clouds that Shikamaru so envied. It was both amazing and horrifying. For Naruto, it was his current problem. He had no energy, and he couldn't move, much less mold chakra. However, Naruto wouldn't be Naruto if he let that bother him. Was he worried? A bit. Was he scared? Not on your life. It took a lot to scare the great Uzumaki Naruto. Though, scared or not, he would probably die here. Hey, sorry Kurama. Guess I should have taken your advice, huh? Naruto spoke into his mind calmly. Death wasn't something he actually feared. He had faced it many times in his life. By no means was he looking for death or accepting of it, but he wasn't afraid of it. I don't know if I can save you, Naruto. Kurama responded. Tearing them away from their world hadn't done either Naruto or Kurama any favors, and it once more left Kurama with only half of his chakra. He didn't know if he had enough to save them both. But they say you can't really know what kind of person you are until you are at death's door. It was at this moment, as Naruto broke from the oddly colored clouds, as the land expanded below them, Kurama learned what kind of person he was. He was the kind that would rather die than let his one friend, the one person he cared about in such a very long time, meet that same fate. So, he did what he thought was only right. What are you doing? Naruto asked as his body was enveloped in a cloak of red. I'm transferring the last of my chakra into a cushion for impact. It might not work. It might kill us both. But you have the devil's luck. So maybe only one of us will bite the kunai. Kurama chuckled after he spoke. The others would be dumbstruck to see him, the proud Nine Tails, giving the last of himself to try and save a human. But, won't that kill you? Naruto shouted. He didn't want anyone to sacrifice themselves for him, ever again. Especially not Kurama. Who knows? I've never used up all my chakra before. But this instance might be worth the risk. Kurama, brace yourself as much as you can. The ground is coming up fast. The bubbling aura around Naruto solidified, and he streaked across the sky, the ground approaching like the judgment of the damned. For weeks, people would speak of the red comet and the blessing or evil it brought. The world over would know of the blinding light the horizon was bathed in upon impact. Rumor and story spread like a massive game of Chinese telephone, all traced back to a single source. And the Mao, rulers of the underworld, would send many a search party into the familiar forest, searching for whatever had crashed into their realm. Sirzex was a tall devil. He had flowing red hair and striking blue eyes. A handsome, angular face was framed by how his hair was styled. His ornamental pauldron armor seated upon his shoulders, colored in a dull gray and bright gold. He looked every bit regal as he did warrior. Well, if it weren't for the way his head was currently rested in his hands. For weeks he had sent out search parties to the familiar forest, where a strange, blood-red meteorite had landed. Now usually that wouldn't be odd, seeing as meteorites impacted Earth all the time. But the familiar forest was in its own pocket dimension, meaning something would have had to force its way past the barriers the first Lucifer had constructed. No small task. It was only due to the master of the familiar forest that the Mao had even been alerted to the occurrence. Now, just days before the full moon, Sirzex was in an odd way. His little sister, Rias, had begged him to go with her to get her first familiar a few weeks back, and he had agreed. However, with some possible unknown threat, he was tempted to call the whole thing off till they could be assured of any aspiring devil's safety. But then Rias would be so sad. And it would be his fault. Sirzex-sama, would it not be simple to recall your peerage and have them all act as escort for the young lady? Graphia Lucifage, his wife and queen, questioned. She maintained her position to his right-hand side, a half-step behind him. Her maid outfit pressed and pristine. Sirzex brightened at those words. It had been some time since he, himself had set out on a mini-adventure. And it had been years since his peerage had all been together. Graphia, you're a genius, he shouted as he sprang to give his loving wife a tight hug, and possibly a kiss, for her idea. Only to be smacked down by her delicate hand. Lord Lucifer, acting in such a way is unseemly while at work. His wife's monotone voice carried over his whining as he held his head where a bump was forming. You're so mean, Graphia. Rias looked at the people around her, a suspicious curiosity taking hold. Her brother's peerage had little reason to ever get together, each having work and/or families of their own. Along with all of them being high-class devils, they hadn't served in a servant role in years. At 10, even Rias had some suspicions as to the reasons why. There was McGregor Mathers, a world-renowned magician, her brother's bishop, and a bit of a magical legend. A founding member of Golden Dawn, the premier magic association. He was a taller man, on level with her brother easily. He was lanky, with a beautiful mix of black and blonde hair that flowed down his back in waves. He had a slightly haunting look, with a sunken smile and slitted pupils. It was a little odd, but Rias had seen stranger beings. Next was Soji Okita, knight, master swordsman and former captain of the 1st Shisengumi squad of days gone by. He still donned his old uniform, a haori and hakama over a white kimono. A white tasuki crossed over his chest and tied along his back. The haori was colored a light blue with stripes along the sleeves. He held the visage of a man in his late 20s, much like McGregor. A sword rested on his hip, attached to the white belt he wore. He had light brown hair with hazel for eyes. Along with these two master-class fighters walked Surtur II, The underworld knew him as the ultimate rook. He was a large man, standing a staggering 2 meters tall, pounds of muscle racked his body, and an untamed aura escaped his form regularly. His always present bottle of sake tied at his waist. Whatever he and Soji were talking about must have been hilarious, because his booming laugh split the silent forest with ease, his black hair shaking as his head was thrown back. Beowulf, one of her brothers, Pawn-s. A descendant from the hero Beowulf, he was a man with an athletic build and an air of seriousness. He was a sharp contrast from her brother's usual behavior. He looked in his mid-20s, with short cropped brown hair and a stylish suit, not really meant for the woods. That image was broken when Surtur slapped him on the back and jokingly called him his sidekick, making a rain cloud appear above his head. Last, and far from least, walked Graphia Lucifage, the ultimate queen, her sister-in-law and the second most important woman in Rias' young life. She had always been the serious one of the group, never allowing for untoward silliness or impropriety. Graphia was like an eye of the hurricane. Control, power. It inspired Rias like no other. Her brother had informed her a few hours before they had left that his peerage would be tagging along in their escapade into the familiar forest. She hadn't made a fuss of it simply because she didn't want her brother to change his mind. It had taken her weeks to convince him to take her, and after the news broke that a meteorite had crashed into the forest last month, she was worried he would go back on his promise. If dealing with a few extra people meant she finally received her first familiar, then so be it. "Welcome Lord Lucifer," a voice called from the trees, before a figure dropped in front of the gaggle of devils. It took a lot for Rias not to squeal in excitement. He looked just like Ash Ketchum, down to the strange baseball-style hat. Even as a closet otaku, Rias didn't want to look improper in front of the familiar master. She is the heir of the Gremory house after all. She would have to come back here later as her own peerage grew. It wouldn't do to make a bad first impression. "Ah, hello there, Dachi. Glad you could meet us today." Sirzex greeted amicably. He had always enjoyed talking to Dachi, the man's fun-loving nature reminding Sirzex of himself. Dachi gave a light bow and tried to appear disarming. Some of the hardest hitters in the underworld stood before him. Lady Graphia alone was terrifying on a good day. He took in the 7 people before him in a small wonder, before thinking to speak. "Who shall be receiving a familiar today, Lord Lucifer?" Dachi spoke slowly. "Ah yes." Sirzex reached behind him and pushed his little Rias forward from the area she had partially hidden away in. "That would be my sister. Rias Gremory." Dachi looked at the diminutive redhead before him and shrugged. Wouldn't be the first time he had helped a young heir claim a familiar. "Have you given any thought to the type of familiar you want?" Dachi asked. "Well, I have a fair grasp on most forms of magic," the girl began, a hand on her chin. "And I don't have any peerage members yet. Could you recommend something in a support role? Perhaps in medicine or information?" Dachi blinked in surprise. Usually when people came here, they either wanted something strong and flashy, or had no idea what they wanted. This was kind of refreshing. "Well, for information, this forest hosts several prospects. Bats, songbirds, and foxes chief among them. Fast, intelligent, and very keen of hearing and sight." Dachi rambled off. "For a medical support, we have undines. They are water spirits and are exceptional at medical magic. However, they are a bit odd." "Odd?" Rias chirped. "Odd how?" "Ah, well." Dachi rubbed the back of his head, before looking straight the rest of Rias' party for help, all of which just avoid his gaze and carried on in their own little worlds. "Useless devils. Perhaps I could introduce you to one? Her name is Haruko, and she has been very interested in finding a master." Dachi said as he motioned for Rias and company to follow him. It took a short walk, but after a scant several minutes, they arrived at the edge of a lake. All was silent for a moment, before Dachi shouted, "Haruko!" A magical display of water played out before the group of devils, drawing a gasp from young Rias. It was awe-inspiring, tantalizing, wonderful. And then it wasn't. As the water flowed back into the lake, a tall, muscular woman stood on the lake, flexing her arms. "Yeah, same as always with these Undine types." Sirzex spoke, amusement in his tone. He felt bad for allowing this sight to greet his little Rias tan, but it was always funny to see the reactions to the Undine. Rias felt herself go green, nausea washing over her like a putrid wave. She turned and bolted into the woods, a scream echoing after her. So gross. Ah, that might be a trouble. Dachi spoke, slightly numb as he watched the little girl run into the deadly forest. A beat. Gremory-san, Dachi shouted as the other devils moved to chase the wayward girl down. Haruko just stood on the lake, a sweat drop sliding down the side of her face as the clearing emptied of people. A slight sob escaped her. Why couldn't she find a master? Rias continued to pelt through the forest, running from the horrific sight she just bore witness to. To be fair, Rias was still a young girl, so seeing something so wrong, she could be forgiven for overreacting. Rias was brought to an abrupt halt, however, her mind catching up with her actions. She was a young girl, now deep within the familiar forest that she was visiting for the first time. And now she was alone. And lost. Ni-sama, the young redhead cried. Usually Rias would avoid calling for her brother like the plague, but this was different. She cast her head to the left and right, the realization slowly dawning on her. This forest was large, exceedingly so. A soft gulp left her lips. A snap resounded from behind her, making Rias jump. She spun on a dime, casting her eyes into the shadows of the trees, looking for the source of the disturbance. Blood-red eyes caught hers. A deep growl emanating from its direction. Rias stumbled back, fear gripping her heart. She had heard of the types of monsters that stalked these woods, beasts that would rend flesh from bone at the slightest provocation. That's why she had begged Sirzex to bring her. She had been sure, in secret, he would protect her from anything. The growling increased, and from the shadows strolled a massive fox. Easily 2 meters from paw to shoulder. Its fur crimson as her own hair, a snarl on its muzzle. It walked at a slow, steady pace, each footfall making the pit in Rias' stomach grow. 9 tails waved behind the beast, and Rias felt despair. This was a creature of legend, worshipped as a god in certain regions of Japan. A Kyubi, seen as a beast of catastrophe, as well as being known for its supreme intelligence. It was said a single 9-tailed fox was worth an army of mid-class devils. The yokai faction had managed to remain neutral during the 3-faction war due to the leadership of Yasaka, a 9-tailed yokai fox. The beast displayed its tails in an act of fanfare, and Rias, for all her fear, looked on in awe. Even with her life now on the balance, she couldn't help but admire the creature's beauty. The fox jumped forward, its maw parted to sink its fangs into Rias. She screamed and fell backwards, arms shooting up, to have some for protection. She waited for the pain. But it never came. Rias cracked a single, hesitant eye open. The fox had stopped just short of her, she could see its nose moving, possibly taking in her scent. It took a small half-step back, and cast a critical eye at the young girl, before turning around and looking at Rias for a moment. It suddenly bounded to the tree line from whence it came, stopping momentarily to look back at her. Rias blinked at the odd behavior, casting a look around the trees surrounding them. "Do you want me to follow you?" She found herself asking, a conflicted look crossing her features. The fox nodded once, then shook its head toward the darkened woods. Rias took a moment to think. This was a legendary beast, something that could easily kill her. If she followed it, the odds of that happening increased substantially by standard logic. But why hasn't it yet? A small voice rang in the back of her head. Rias looked around once more, and realized she only had one option for being saved. She was lost in the heart of a forest, with monsters potentially everywhere. The fox was likely to be avoided by other creatures, based on its sheer size alone. If she followed it, and it didn't kill her, as it so easily could have, maybe someone would find her. Rias slowly took a step forward, and then another. Steeling her resolve, she followed the fox into the woods. It was a short walk, at least in Rias' mind. The fox had led her to a cliffside, where a large opening sat. She noticed a lot of the plant life leading to the area was dead, or even burned. But around the cave entrance, plant life bloomed spectacularly. There was even some of the smaller familiar creatures playing in the area, to the young girl's amazement. Little birds and foxes played by the mouth of the cave. A pair of sprite dragons flew above, almost lazily. Even a pixie or two could be seen relaxing on the large flowers in the area. Rias stood still, basking in the serenity of the scene, a soft smile stretching across her face. This was nice. A huff and slight growl drew her attention back to the fox. It stood at the mouth of the cave, making soft motions with its head, as if to beckon her to enter. Rias took one last look at the lovely planet and animal life in the area, committing it to her young mind. Rias quickly made her way over and into the cave, a slight trepidation in her movements. She had trusted the fox so far, what's one more leap? A soft glow illuminated Rias' walk into the dark cave, emitting from one of the 9 tails of her companion. Rias had to wonder at her situation. It was fairly odd from what she understood about familiars. Perhaps the fox wanted to test her? Make her perform some task or rite of passage? Maybe it had a family back here that needed her help? Maybe it wanted to eat her away from everything else? All contemplation stopped as the two beings approached what seemed to be the end of the cave, however. There was a boy in the wall. Well, not so much a boy as a young man. He was wrapped in red crystal, his clothes were torn and lightly charred. His right arm wasn't visible, but that may just be from the angle in which he sat embedded in the wall. He had a serene look on his face, even as he lay floating in the exotic gem. "I have brought you here in hopes you could help him." A voice resounded through the cave, causing Rias to jump and release a slight scream. She turned her head every which way before finally settling on the fox. "Can you talk?" Not in the most conventional of ways, came the voice, ever as the fox only stared back at her intently. Telepathy? Rias questioned. The fox hadn't moved its maw, so that was the only option Rias could think of. "You are quite astute for one so young." The fox approached the frozen man and laid before him. "This man is my friend. I have spent the last weeks trying to awaken him, but it seems my powers can no longer reach him. As of now, he remains in a sort of stasis, until I can find some power to jolt his system. I have been looking for any options." The fox looked at Rias as he said this, and from the look of the girl's face, she was beginning to understand. "You need my help." Rias spoke softly. Seeing the nod she received, she felt compelled to ask, "But how can I help? I don't know much medical magic." "You are a devil, are you not? I have spent weeks chasing off your kind. Those that were fully enveloped by your dark nature, or those that came off as half-breds. I can sense the items in those half-bred, and seeing as you are pure in your darkness, I assume you have some way to do the procedure. You speak of the evil pieces." The fact the fox could even feel them in the humans and yokai that had been turned was incredible in of itself. "I care not for the title you use. Can you do it?" "Yes. As heir to the House of Grimmery, I have already received my evil pieces." Rias walked forward and placed a hand on the large red gem, taking in the boy's features. "Why should I help this man?" Rias spoke. This was no small favor that was being asked of her, after all. "I have looked into your heart, child. I see the innocence and want to help others that my partner shares. It is why I led you here instead of chasing you out of my domain." "He is a good person, then? I have seen so few like him in my many years. I ask this favor knowing he may hate me for it. I understand this will tie him to you, in more ways than one. He has never been one pleased by others making choices for him. I just don't want his light to fade." Rias looked at the fox in no small wonder. He spoke of this man with a kind of reverence, like he was the one truth of the world. "Why would you go so far for him?" She had to know before she could decide. "I have been known throughout the ages as a mindless beast. Something to be feared, hated. In those years, I learned to do the same. Anger, fear, hate. Those feelings filled my heart and darkened my view of the world and the people in it. Naruto, he saw something else in me. Something good. It wasn't always that way, but he has earned my faith and trust. If it means earning his ire to save his life, you really look up to him." The fox laid on its front paws at the foot of the gem, a certain resignation at the proclamation. "Naruto." Rias looked at the boy once more, a sort of warmth spreading in her heart. Something about him called out to her. Something she wanted to trust and cherish. Something pure. With a wave of her hand, a chess piece appeared. It was a stylized after a queen. It held archaic symbols running up and down its length. A mutated queen, a rarity in devil society. "I will help you. I can provide you with this queen piece, but I can't assure you of the outcome. Bring other beings back from the dead is what these pieces were designed around. I'm not sure what will happen with him only being in a pseudo-coma." Rias slowly placed the piece against the red gem. "I'm not even sure if it will be strong enough to help him. The powers of the evil pieces is directly related to how strong the king, me in this instant, is. If he is strong enough to make a friend out of a Kyuubi." I will allow the trinket to bind with him, giving a fraction of my own power to increase its accessibility. Together, that should be enough to awaken him. Rias looked at the fox for a moment, her decision already made. Alright, I will help you. What is his full name? She asked as the piece made contact. Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. In the name of the House of Grimmery, I command thee. Rise and live life anew as a devil, Naruto Uzumaki. Rias poured a portion of her magic into the piece, and a red glow filled the cavern. A yellow light enveloped the piece as it slowly sank into the gem. Rias covered her eyes as the light became blinding, and a loud crack rang throughout the cave. Naruto was mildly surprised when he began to feel. Surely death meant no sense of touch, right? He'd just be a soul floating in the pure land based on the conventional religions of the elemental nations. So why the hell was his back so sore? Itai. Who knew death would ache so much? His throat felt hoarse, rough from disuse. He lifted a hand and slowly rubbed his face, before dragging it through his hair. A soft gasp made him freeze. Wait a second. Slowly, Naruto opened his eyes, the dim light quickly allowing his eyes to adjust. The blur in his vision faded, and a short red-headed girl filled his sight. Holy shit, Mom. Naruto rubbed his eyes, his left hand pinching at the bridge of his nose. There no way that was the child version of his mom. Blinking once more as he sat up, the girl approached him slowly. Are you okay, Naruto? She spoke slowly, hesitantly. Naruto flashed a cheesy smile. Yeah. Why do you ask? Wait, how do you know my name? He replied. This fox told me. And I asked because well. Rias pointed to his right, a look of shock and slight sadness on her face. Fox. Naruto looked around, before realizing the weight on his lap. Casting his eyes down, he came face to face with the familiar vision of Kurama. Only a lot smaller. What? How did? What? Naruto tried to vocalize his surprise, only to feel totally tongue-tied. It's good to have you back, partner. The sorely missed gravelly tone of his friend and partner almost made Naruto jump. How? I don't. What's going on? Where are we? How are you out of the seal? Why aren't I dead? Naruto fired off even as he moved to wrap his arms around the large fox laying across his legs. Arm. Naruto stopped, staring at the stump of his right hand. Oh, so that's what the girl meant. The fight with Sasuke came back in a flash, and the falling from the sky. That must mean the place Sasuke sent him was a different world altogether. Naruto just pushed it to the back of his mind, and finished his movement, wrapping his arms around Kurama's neck. You did it, man. You really did it. You saved us. He spoke softly, gratitude flowing with his words. Rias stared on in both amazement and joy. This man brushed off the missing arm like nothing, but clung to the fox and thanked it as if it was the most important thing in the world. She may not know much about him, but the words he spoke were genuine from what she could feel. He really was grateful for the fox being with him. Kurama tried not to tear up, even as Naruto held him and sang his praises. It had been so very long since he had last been hugged, long before even his first sealing. The words that tumbled from Naruto made him feel light, peaceful, important. It wasn't just me, Naruto. This young girl, Rias, provided me with the power necessary to bring you back to the waking world. Naruto leaned back from the fox, casting his eyes to the girl once more. He smiled brightly, before beckoning for her to come forward. Thank you, Rias-chan. I must have been pretty bad off if Kurama need help. Usually we make do with our individual skills, but if he was worried enough to ask for help, it says a lot about what my state was, and what kind of person you are. Naruto's smile softened considerably. For him to ask you, you must be a very good girl. Rias for her part just blushed deeper and deeper, even more so when Naruto's left hand dropped into the top of her head and lightly tousled her hair, a soft grin on his lips. Usually she hated when people did that. But this felt. Rias quickly stepped back and coughed into her hand, trying to force her blush down. Naruto looked confused for a moment, wondering if he had done something wrong. Why yes, well, Kurama was it? Was very adamant about your survival. I couldn't just leave you to an unknown fate. Rias looked Naruto in the eye, steeling herself for the coming conversation. With a gulp she soldiered on. As it stands, you may not be happy with which the means of your survival were ensured. I am a devil, you see. I used my queen to act as a catalyst in which Kurama-san could awaken you. Naruto just tilted his head, going to scratch his head, only to deadpan at his still missing right hand. That's gonna get annoying. What do you mean by devil, Rias-chan? And what's a queen piece? Naruto asked, turning his focus back on the red head. A devil is a being born of the Lilith bloodline, and inhabitants of both earth and hell. We have special abilities that allow for the use of magic and inherited powers. Think human, but everyone has the ability of chakra and even a few hold bloodline limits. Kurama chimed in, knowing Naruto would still be confused. Ah, that makes sense. Though I still don't understand why that would upset me. For the sake of the dwindling devil population after a series of conflicts. Aduka Beelzebub, one of the four Mao, created the evil peace system. This allows normal humans and yokai to be turned into devils. It uses the pieces from the game known as chess and allows for a maximum of 15 uses. The ones that become devils this way are known as peerage members and are bound to the one that owns the pieces. Known as the king, Rias stopped to take a small breed, and also calculate Naruto's serious expression. I see. I take it you used one of these pieces on me, and have bound me in the same way. Naruto spoke, closing his eyes in concentration, feeling throughout his energy, he found a blip. Something new, different. Yes, I can feel it. A small part of my chakra has been changed, and I can feel a pull to your energy signature. Naruto nodded finally. Alright, what's else? Rias just blinked in surprise before turning to Kurama. I thought you said he'd be upset? Kurama just shook lightly, as if to laugh. Well, he is unpredictable. I can't be upset at you two doing your utmost to save me. Honestly, I'm just kind of grateful. Naruto spoke, smiling and rubbing the back off his head with his left hand. Rias just stood there in a bit of shock. For someone to be so accepting of being forcefully turned was both uncommon and plain weird to her. She coughed into her hand once more, seeing how the other two in the cave were looking at her oddly. Yes. Ah. I suppose I should explain as much as I can, so you aren't too shocked for what's to come. For a kid, you're pretty smart, no? Naruto laughed as he adjusted his seated position for the upcoming information dump. Considering what an idiot you can be, maybe it's good you wound up here. Kurama snarked in good nature, leaning his head into Naruto's lap. Kurama tilde, that's not nice. Naruto whined, even as his hand reached down to stroke Kurama's head. Mean old fox. Rias looked at the two before sighing and taking a seat as well. Right. This may take a while. And so, she explained all about the world she had grown up in. Naruto stared out of the bay window as moonlight flooded the room. It hadn't taken long for Rias' family to find them after Kurama led them from his so-called dead zone. Thought that meeting was interesting. Rias-tan. Naruto suppressed a shudder. It was my territory. What else would you call it? Kurama spoke, interrupting Naruto's reminiscing. Naruto gave a chuckle. Good point, buddy. He spoke softly. The fox was laying just below the couch he was sat upon. Naruto turned and surveyed the room he was currently occupying, taking in the grandiose portrayal of wealth. A large king-sized canopy bed, frame crafted from a fine ebony wood. Sheer silk curtains hung over the support banisters. A deep red satin bedspread laying in wait to wrap the sleeper in a loving embrace. What could be thousands of dollars in a bed? It actually sickened Naruto a little. This was one of the guest rooms. What must the regular tenants sleep in? It's why he found himself awake now. He wasn't used to such luxury. It was too soft. Too much. It was why he opted for the couch, still comfortable, sure, but less so than the air that was the bed. You do know you don't have to stay here, right? Kurama chimed. That started Naruto a bit. He had some questions for the fox about this whole situation, now that it struck him. What are you talking about? According to Rias, if I run off, it'll make me a criminal, and some grossly deformed monster. Naruto shot back with a shudder. No, she said resurrected devils who run from their king would grow grotesque. You, however, are still human. Kurama responded matter-of-factly. What do you mean? Didn't you use her queen piece to turn me? Naruto spoke, a slight accusation coloring his tone, even as he cast his eyes to his lifelong partner. Who do I look like, boy? Do you seriously think I would allow someone any kind of power over you? After all you did to protect me? The fox scoffed. The nerve of this human. I needed something from this world to reach you. When I made that shell around you, I died. I spent weeks reforming in the familiar forest. then sought out the cave in which you had become embedded. Wait, you died? Kurama, why would you do that? Naruto tried to keep from shouting outright, even as he shot to his feet. This was, why? It was either me, or both of us. I reform after death, using the chakra of the world. You, Naruto, do not. Had you died, I would have died anyway. It was the best option. Kurama spoke clinically. He had lived for thousands of years. Did Naruto really not trust him to have some kind of a plan? Kurama felt a hand land between his ears, and he lifted his head to look at the blonde standing over him. Kurama. It's not that. I never want people sacrificing themselves for me. The fact that you did. A soft sob escaped Naruto. He knew he was being silly, the fox was right there. But that kind of dedication. Oh, quite, you're blubbering. The fox shook its head, even as a little warmth filled his heart. Having someone cry over you was kinda nice, if a bit embarrassing. It all worked out like I thought it would, so it's fine. Anyway, when I found you, I couldn't bring you out on my own. The chakra of this world is tainted, different. I couldn't breach the shell of my old chakra. Naruto whipped his eyes a little, so that's why you needed the evil piece. Something to act as a bridge between your new chakra and my body. Exactly. Because my old chakra was made from the nature chakra of our old world. The chakra I have gathered in this world wasn't compatible. The evil piece was never actually used, just acted as a catalyst. The fact that no one here had realized that is incredible to say the least. Kurama spoke with a huff. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that. The fox singing praises? Incredible how? Incredibly stupid. Ah, there it was. So then what is that little new addition to my chakra signature? I'm sure you felt it too, haven't you? Naruto asked, a new questioning gaze forming on his face. That is actually a good question. It could be the taint of this world's nature chakra flowing from me to your coils. It could be some part of that girl that was left over from using her piece. It could just be something weird with you. Wouldn't be the first time. Kurama snarked. Naruto dealt with more weird shit on a daily basis than most people did in their entire lives. Naruto sat back down and leaned into the cushions of the couch, his left hand dragging through his hair. If he was tied to Rias in any way, he couldn't just up and disappear. He'd never been able to just break bonds like that. So what should we do then? If we run off, Rias will think we abandoned her, and since you tricked the poor girl in the first place. Naruto trailed off. He should have realized Kurama wouldn't give in to something that easily. He'd been with the fox for almost 18 years. Tell her the truth then. I don't care. You're back. I'm regaining my lost power. It's a win-win in my book. Kurama flopped back down, closing his eyes. Naruto looked at the fox, a new question springing to his mind. Yeah, no. You being this small makes sense now. If you only just started to regain your yin and yang chakra. But something is still bothering me. In a way, Naruto supposed that made the most sense. When his old man combined the two halves of Kurama's chakra, the fox had almost tripled in size. What's that, brat? Kurama opened one eye and cast it up to Naruto. How come you let Rias ride you on the way back from the forest? Naruto spoke with a teasing smile. You shut up, Kurama shouted even as Naruto laughed. Deny it all he wanted. Naruto knew Kurama liked Rias, if only a little. Naruto walked into the dining room of the Gremory estate, lavish not even the beginning of how he would describe the masterfully crafted seating and utensils. This really was like being in a whole new world. After he had managed a scarce few hours of sleep, he had decided to explore, hoping to learn more about the people whose daughter he had saved. A soft scoff left Naruto's lips. He'd been laid up in a cocoon of high-density chakra. Not much saving to be done that way. He was disappointed Kurama wasn't with him at the moment, the fox wanting to sleep more, and apparently regain more of the chakra from the world. Naruto stopped walking at the and put a hand to his chin. Come to think of it, how was Kurama able to form in this world anyway? Are there other beings like him? Or maybe he is just some form of conscious that can gather chakra to psychically manifest? Naruto squeezed his eyes tightly and thought, something he wasn't well known for in the first place. His brain was starting to hurt. So many questions, so few answers. Honestly, this whole thing was a clusterfuck. Someone seems to be troubled. A melodic voice reaches his ears, causing Naruto to spin in place. A woman stood in the doorway, elegantly dressed in a white gown that accented her curves. Two red gems sat on her neck, one in a choker, and one in a sliver necklace. That along with her light brown hair made her purple eyes just pop. She was honestly and unequivocally attractive in Naruto's modest opinion. She was also lady of the Gremory house. Venelana Gremory, née Biel, a powerful devil, and Rias' mother. She wore a slight smile, taking a bit of pleasure in making the young man her daughter brought home jump. That sounds much more inappropriate in my head than I meant it to. Shaking her head slightly, she took in Naruto's slightly put out features. Good morning, Naruto-san. It's good to see you up so early. Naruto just scratched his head with his left hand, a small sweat drop sliding down his face while he released a nervous chuckle. Jesus Christ, she came out of nowhere. Rias never said her mom was a ninja. I wouldn't get too used to it. I usually sleep till around 10, just with all the new information and learning all I did yesterday. Naruto trailed off as he took in the dining hall once more. I see. I suppose someone in your unique position would be a bit hard up on sleep. Venelana spoke softly. After Searsex had returned with an extra party member, questions had flown a mile a minute. At the time, Naruto hadn't felt the need to hide too much about how they met from everyone, so the truth about where he was from and how he came to be a guest had been revealed to the family. At the time, everyone assumed the same as him. He was Rias' new queen. Naruto blanched. That's right. I still need to tell them. I wanted to thank you one more time, Naruto-san. Venelana spoke softly as she walked closer to him, her hands clasped in front of her. What for Gremory-sama? A disrespectful brat he may be, but this was Rias' mom. She seemed nice enough, and with the news he'd be telling her and others later, best to try and butter her up. You did save my little girl, and please call me Venelana. The lovely devil spoke. She stopped a few feet from Naruto, a small smile on her face, gratitude clear in her eyes. I wouldn't go that far, Naruto started, his hand once more finding his hair as he glanced away nervously. Truth of the matter is, if Rias hadn't come along, I'd still be stuck in that crystal. But you escorted a young girl from a very dangerous place. You could have left her, or worse, hurt her yourself. Venelana spoke resolutely. She may be a kind woman, but she was wise to the world. Being turned into a queen, Naruto could have slaughtered her little girl and left. It had happened before to young devils getting ahead of themselves. She could see he was a kind man, but the possibility was there. Yeah, that never would have happened. Naruto spoke with a scowl. Rias is a good girl. The fact she went out of her way to help a stranger, even if she was kinda tricked, speaks a lot for her character. I owe her a debt, no. I couldn't just abandon her. Naruto smiled lightly, having already made up his mind on what he was going to do. Rias was a good girl. Given the tenuous peace that was currently being held, her position as an heiress, and his own hero complex, he wouldn't leave. Besides, Rias' family was pretty nice. Venelana, for her part, looked at Naruto with a small sense of wonder. Most people forcibly held a grudge against the perpetrator, yet he brushed it off without a complaint. Aren't you worried about what this means for you? My daughter did force you into indentured servitude, for lack of a better word. Venelana asked as she narrowed her eyes slightly. She wanted to buy this mon's-kind act, but she knew people that could act this way, only to show their true colors in private. Cruelty wore a mask of kindness, and she would burn this world to the ground before she let such a man be alone with her little devil. Actually, there is something about that you guys should know. Naruto started slowly. He walked over to the long dining table and sat down with a soft plop. This would be a tense conversation, he could already tell. What do you mean? Venelena's tone took a harsh note, already assuming the worst. Would you be able to get everyone together? This is gonna be a long conversation, and I don't want to have it more times than necessary. Naruto sighed. He could already feel the anger rolling off the woman. He didn't blame her honestly. He was acting fairly suspicious, and considering the little he knew about Devil Society, that could be seen as a threat. Venelana was silent for a moment, weighing the young man before her, her eyes taking in everything about him. Give me a few moments. And that's about as much as I know. Naruto rounded off as he took up the fine glass of tea that had been brought in by the house servants. Each of the others at the table seemed a bit alarmed and shocked, not that he was surprised. This seemed to set a new precedent. They were probably as confused as he was. Well, that certainly is an interesting problem, though not necessarily a bad thing. This means Rias still has a full set of evil pieces, and she gained a powerful ally, if I may be so bold. Zeoticus Gremory spoke, a hand stroking the light stubble of a beard on his face. Much like his son, Zeoticus is a tall man, long red hair spilling from his head. He wore an expensive-looking suit, the blazer of which currently rested on the back of his chair. The white and gold colors truly complemented both his blue eyes, as well as alerted others to his high status in society. As the Duke of Gremory, Naruto really wasn't shocked. If what you say is true, you may have just found a way to save thousands of people without the need to make them half-devils. Searsex spoke, a strange look passing over his face. The pillars will be in an uproar if they find out about this. Not exactly, Naruto replied, halting Searsex's train of thought. Kurama's chakra is special. Even the gem I was encased in was made of his old chakra, solidified as it was. It helped heal my more grievous injuries, no doubt, but I have my own healing factor. I never actually died. Think of what happened as a cold bucket of water on a sleeping bum. Naruto nodded to himself at his brilliant analogy, even as the other 4 occupants of the room sweat dropped. So, does that mean you'll be leaving? Rias spoke softly. That made her feel sad. She didn't want the blonde to go. Something about him called to her. Made her feel safe. Not at all. I do still owe you. Without your help, Kurama would never have been able to breach the shell. Well, not for a long time anyway. Who knows what more time in the jewel would have done to me, haha. Naruto smiled at Rias. The poor girl had seemed on the edge of tears the whole conversation. It was best to put her at ease now. That does lead to a new problem. How do we explain your presence here? While your energy signature doesn't seem human, someone looking hard enough would realize you aren't a half-devil either. Venelana spoke, her own concern for what this could mean for her daughter weighing on her mind. The number of people that would try to get at Naruto for his difference, through Rias, would be numerous. Information had already spread about the strange blonde at the Gremory Manor. The fact he returned with Searsex and his little sister, someone with a full set of evil pieces, meant the rumors were out in force. That is a concern. Zeoticus agreed, closing his eyes in thought. Naruto leaned back in his chair, his own thought process going to work. That was a pickle. If Naruto was the only person like him anywhere in this world, the crazies would come out of the woodwork for him. Naruto hung his head in defeat. Sometimes, being awesome sucked. Couldn't we hire him as a butler? Or as a bodyguard perhaps? All eyes turned to Searsex, questions ringing in their gaze. We don't necessarily have to alert anyone of this development. I would like a Juka to take a look at you. A human with chakra is just wow. Not to mention this additional energy you mentioned. He may be able to divine what it is. That might actually work. Naruto spoke, his hand scratching his chin. It would be good for Rias-chan. Venelana consented begrudgingly, still holding some reservations. You did say you had some experience with such affairs. As a ninja, was it? People would assume you were a peerage member unless they truly looked into it, and you could pay off your so-called debt to little Rias. Zeoticus thought it was a splendid idea. After the mess in the familiar forest, he was tempted to have his own butler keep an eye on Rias till she was able to take care of herself. Not to mention Rias-tan seems quite taken with you, Naruto-san. We can provide room and board, even a small stipend for personal expenses. Out of my own pocket if necessary. Searsex spoke, pointedly ignoring the blush and glare Rias pointed his way. She wasn't taken with him. He was just nice. I think it's a good idea. Naruto can stay nearby. He can learn more about this world, and you guys don't have to worry about me being in danger. Rias spoke, after suppressing the blush that had appeared on her face. Stupid Oni-sama, I'm not sure, Rias-chan. Are you strong enough to protect Rias from any danger? Venelana asked pointedly. It was one thing when they assumed her was a queen, with just his base abilities, she wasn't so convinced. Naruto smirked, a flash of something appearing in his eyes. How about I give you guys a demonstration? Got anywhere that won't be missed? His tone sure and full of himself. We can make a pocket dimension for you to show off your skills. Naruto stood, twisting his neck and being rewarded with a sharp pop. Then let's do this. Naruto took in the surrounding area with a sense of wonder. It was exactly like the mountain range that he had pasted through on his original trip into the Gremory home. The only difference he could find was the sky being an off shade of purple. A little odd, but not something he couldn't get over. Right then, what do you want to see first? I have a lot of tricks. Or would you like me to just go full tilt? Naruto asked as he stretched lightly. While he couldn't truly go all out without Kurama, Sage Mode should be more than enough to prove his skills. Come to think of it, can Kurama and I still bond the same way? This is your job interview, Zeoticus spoke with a chuckle. Please, let as you wish. Naruto stopped and tapped a finger on his chin. Might as well go for broke and end this early. He sat down and slowed his breathing, stilled his movements. For a moment, Venelana and Zeoticus were confused, not understanding what the blonde youth was up to. Neither noticed the slight narrowing of Sirzek's eyes as he took in Naruto's posture and sat of trance. Is that? A sharp gasp drew the eyes of the adults to Rias, whose eyes were wide in amazement. Something she seemed to ignore. She could feel everything. It was like she could hear the bugs in the soil, taste the wind. Everything was becoming so crisp and clear. Ah, it feels good to get back in the swing of things. Naruto's voice cut everyone back over to his now standing form. Something about him was different. Something ancient, primal, something as old as the world itself. I was right, he is a sage. Sirzek thought to himself in befuddlement. His younger sister had saved a sage. A person known as a living god, able to bend the world to their will. This was. What is this feeling? Venelana spoke as she took a half step back in shock. So much strength and power rolled off Naruto in waves, it was thrilling. I can't believe it. That boy. A sage at so young. Zeoticus spoke in awe. Sages were nothing new to their world, but to see one so young, and human no less, was unheard of. It seemed Rias had the devil's luck. This is the first form of my sage mode. Like this my senses, speed, strength, and cognitive abilities are all enhanced past regular levels. Naruto spoke, preening under the gazes being thrown his way. First form? Sirzek stumbled as he spoke. Yeah, after this is Nine Tails Sage Mode, when me and Kurama bond and combine our power. Then there is Sage of Six Paths Mode, something even greater. I still don't fully have the hang of that one, but because of it I have an alignment to every chakra nature, and an understanding of all things chakra related. It also made me a master of chakra transfusion. Pretty cool, huh? Naruto bragged, even as he released the natural energy back into the world. Kurama was right, something about this world was tainted. He could look into it later. A sharp breath made everyone once more look at Rias, who looked as if she had just come down from some high. Her eyelids dipped closed slowly and she was slightly swaying on her feet. A hand on her shoulder caused her to start in surprise, her eyes landing on Naruto's concerned face. Rias, are you okay? He asked softly. All the poor girl could do was nod. It seemed the bond he spoke of was real. She had felt it, the power, the warmth of nature. It was intoxicating. Still a bit concerned, Naruto knelt down and started looking Rias over, searching for any visible injury. Well dear, what do you think? Zeoticus spoke to his wife softly, watching Naruto carefully. He may trust the boy a little, but that was still his little girl. Naruto, Venelana called out, pulling the two youngest individuals' attention to her. Will you protect my daughter? From any foe or threat? To keep her safe and happy no matter what, on pain of death. She spoke seriously, her eyes growing slightly cold. This was important. She needed to know. I would do that anyway. Naruto spoke, lightly ruffling Rias' hair. Rias, all kids deserve to be protected. To be cared for. Even if I didn't get to stay here, I would do my best to protect her. He ended with a smile. Rias blushed and took a particular interest in the ground. Her parents loved her, and she had a doting older brother, but hearing Naruto say those words made her feel special. Like they were only for her. Rias, not the heir to the House of Gremory. Venelana stared at the two for a moment, before her features relaxed in a smile. This boy would be a good influence on her little girl, she could tell. We'll need to get you some new clothes. Perhaps a uniform of some kind. You will be representing the Gremory name after all. Venelana spoke with a small grin, turning on her heel, she allowed the barrier to fall away, revealing the yard of the Gremory estate. This means shopping, doesn't it? Naruto spoke with a slightly pale face. Clothes shopping. With a woman. Oh god, the flashbacks. Sirzek gave a small pained smile in camaraderie. He knew this young mont's pain all too well. Sirzek-sama, isn't this Anzi so cute? He loved his wife, he did, but shopping with her was an act of self-hate. Satan forbid he ever actually tell her that. Naruto slowly ran his hands across Kurama's head, gliding his fingers through the horse-sized fox's fur. His blue eyes gazed out the bay window of his bedroom and took in the city below. It was dusk, the orange and reds of the sky painting a beautiful canvas that really just drew his eyes in. A feeling of melancholy overtook him. Was Konoha seeing a beautiful evening as well? Were his friends free? Did Sasuke survive? Why do you continue to think of those insects, brat? Kurama's voice breaks into Naruto's thoughts like an axe through a tree. The blonde stops his slow menstruations, casting his eyes to the fox head in his lap. They're still precious to me, Kurama. Even if I'm not near them, I can't help but miss them. Naruto spoke with a sad smile. It had been 2 years since waking in that cave. 2 years since becoming Rias' guardian. 2 years since he last saw his friends. It hadn't been all bad. The relationship Rias and he shared could be akin to family. She hung onto his words like a nun to the Bible. The irony of which was not lost to him either. A few friends here and there had been made, and more than a few fights had been won, but still, his thoughts lingered on his home. You are home. Here, this is where you exist and this is where we call home. Kurama spoke, and Naruto couldn't help but chuckle. The fox acted hard and unyielding, but time free of its cage and in an environment of companionship and mutual trust had softened the Biju. Naruto knew Kurama was only saying these words to knock him out of his funk. I know that, Ku. I love the life I have here, I do, but still, my friends were as much a part of my life as you are. Would you want me to forget about you if we were separated? The ninja grinned as the fox stiffened under his hand. Yeah, that's what he thought. No one wants to be forgotten. The fox raised its head from Naruto's lap and gave him a peculiar look. Could you forget about me? About anyone? The fox asked in a voice that was becoming all too welcome in the blonde's opinion. Soft, understanding. Naruto wrapped his arms around the fox's neck, making sure to not lock any of the fur in the articulated joints of his prosthetic. 2 years from home, with no new way to make it back. I haven't forgotten about them, have I? Kurama relaxed into Naruto's arms, a certain comfort rolling off both of them. I could never forget the one person that always had my back. Haha, even if you didn't want to. Naruto chuckled as a gravelly laugh escaped the fox. Over their time in this world, Kurama and Naruto had become kin to brothers, or something of that nature, since neither the fox or Naruto knew the Biju's gender. They supported each other and helped where they could. Kurama would at times act as Rias' guard in Naruto's stead, and Naruto would act as Kurama's protection whenever someone got too close to the truth. It hadn't been easy hiding the truth about Naruto's humanity or Kurama's nature as a walking natural disaster. But so far, nothing had really come of it. The Gremory family had supported the two fully, and even now kept Naruto under their employ as their head of security. Rias was still his charge, and if the girl was asked, she would have it no other way. I can still sense negativity. Whenever you think of your friends, things darken a bit. The fox confessed, revealing in the warmth Naruto provided. It hated seeing the world darken when Naruto was involved. Kurama could feel the taint in the world, the anger humanity and the supernatural all lived in. Naruto was like a beacon, like the sun itself walking the earth. Bright, kind, compassionate. When the blonde thought of the world he left behind, his nature darkened ever so slightly and it physically hurt the fox. I know, Ku. I'm sorry about that, but it's normal. You're still coming to terms with this stuff, but being sad is a part of reality. Naruto rubbed his hand along the fox's back, speaking softly, yearning to make the fox understand. They never talked about it, but Naruto would often feel the thoughts plaguing him. He wouldn't be around forever. One day, he would pass on and the fox would have to move on. Sadness isn't a weakness, and it isn't a bad thing. It means we lost something, yes, but it also means we enjoyed something enough to miss it when it's gone. It was a grim topic, for sure, but it haunted Naruto during the dying light of the day. What would the fox do when he was gone? He didn't know, he just hoped he could make Kurama feel attached to something else to lessen the blow. Why won't you just accept the girl's offer? Kurama spoke, hating itself for its own weakness. For how pleading it sounded to its own ears. Ho ho, so Rias has talked to you. Naruto laughed as he released the fox from his hug. The last few days had seen almost everyone at odds with Naruto. The bandages around his chest being the cause. An assailant had attacked Rias on her way to her classes in the town they had taken residence in early last year. She wanted to attend an all-female academy in the city limits. Her arguments had been accepted by her parents to allow her to experience the human world. The fact that the Gremory and Citri families shared the city as a territory just acted as icing on the cake. Naruto staying as a live-in brother would act as his cover finally convinced them. As they traveled by foot, Naruto acting as a kind older brother walking his Imouto and her friend to school, a rouge priest had attacked. Something that usually wouldn't be a problem for Naruto, he just hadn't expected the second knife, and it had caught him in the chest. To say everyone was extremely put out by it was an understatement. It had taken hours to convince Circex not to lay waste to the churches in the area. After that, Rias had begged, demanded even, that Naruto become a reincarnated devil. It would increase his vitality and durability, so something like this would never happen again. The blonde has promptly refused. My humanity is something that defines me, Rias. How could I possibly give that up? It had been much the same from the rest of the girl's family. Even the redhead's queen had been insistent on Naruto becoming a half-devil. Now even Kurama was in on it. I know it was scary, Ku. You could have died. Kurama cut off, a pleading look on the fox's face. I stopped that girl from turning you before because I knew you would be upset if it was done without your permission, but this is different. You could have died and there would be nothing I could have done to help. The fox turned its head away. Ever since their separation, Naruto's healing factor had decreased. It was still nothing to scoff at, but no longer could the blonde act like a tank and just walk off the damage. For the first time, Naruto was susceptible to damage. Kurama could sync with him, give him chakra and assist him in his six paths mode, but the fox couldn't heal him anymore. Its chakra would now do more harm than good. All the power in the world, and the fox could only help Naruto by passing on gathering natural chakra and allowing Naruto to transfer it to himself. It hated not being able to help its one friend. It's okay, Kurama. Naruto turned the fox's head back towards him, a smile, bright and cheery, on his face. He just surprised me is all. It won't happen again, especially not with that guy. A soft chuckle escaped the blonde. He honestly felt a little bad for the attacker. Rias' family had not been kind to the man. Naruto had disabled him after the knife slipped through his ribs, and then had Rias teleport all four of them to the Gremory mansion. He wasn't sure what happened to the man after that, being fussed over by Rias and her mother, but the look on Zeoticus's face had been terrifying to say the least. Why can't you just give in even once? The fox sighed, knowing Naruto was stubborn to a fault. Who do I look like to you? Naruto laughed as he slapped his chest with his hand, biting back a wince. A knock drew both of their attention to the door, and after a soft, "Come in," the door opened to reveal a young girl with long black hair. She wore a modified outfit remnant of Shinto priestess. A red haori was draped across her shoulders and black hakama hid her legs. She was certainly cute, with soft features and slightly sleepy, violet eyes. Naruto-sama, Lord Lucifer asked me to retrieve you. She spoke softly, clasping her hands in front of her waist, bowing slightly. Naruto groaned as he stood from the couch, an arm wrapping over Kurama's neck to help him up. Another day or two and he should be right as rain, but for now, he had to rely on others more than he would like. Akeno, seriously, how many times do I have to tell you not to call me that? Naruto gave the girl an exasperated look. At least once more, Naruto-sama. Akeno spoke, a smile breaking her lips, even as her eyes lingered on the bandages. Do you require assistance, Naruto-sama? Akeno made to step forward but Naruto waves her off, a sigh leaving his lips. It's fine, Akeno. Kurama's got me. What's going on anyway? Last time I went downstairs, Grafia and Rias almost went ballistic. It wasn't far from the truth. Rias had been quite upset due to this whole clusterfuck and demanded he rest and allow them to take care of him, them being her primarily. Grafia has been more reserved in her disapproval, but no less scary. That woman's glare could freeze ice. I'm not sure, Naruto-sama. He said that it was most important and everyone should be gathered. Akeno places a hand on her cheek, a look of contemplation crossing her face. Naruto hung his head. He knew she was doing it just to get a rise out of him, but damn it if it didn't bother him. Formalities has never been his thing and he got enough of them whenever the Gremory family held or were invited to a formal function. He slowly slid on an orange and black haori overtop the loose kimono he had on, wincing only slightly as his wound made its presence known once more. "Well," Naruto said as he leaned against the massive frame of Kurama once more, "let's go see what all the fuss is about." Naruto found himself at a loss for words. Abject confusion was clear on his face. "Rias? Check," thought from though as she had glanced at him, only to go back to her confusing antics spoke to her still being upset with him. Searsex and Graphia? Double check, though Graphia seemed too busy attempting to punish the great Mao to notice him, with said Mao crying on the floor. Venelena and Zeoticus? Double check there as well, they at least threw him a smile and nod at his entrance however. Chibi white-haired cat girl that was currently being cuddled and squeezed by Rias with a blank look on her face while dressed in rags. Check? What the hell is all this? Naruto spoke, drawing all eyes to him. Graphia released Searsex, only to walk directly in front of Naruto and stare him in the eye. It made the blonde incredibly uncomfortable, and it didn't help that she just stared at him for a whole 10 seconds. Naruto-sama, damn it Graphia, how many times? Why are you not resting as was directed? The maid uniform-wearing queen asked, more demanded, in a bland tone. Naruto gave the silver-haired wife of Searsex a deadpanned look before jerking a thumb towards Akano. "Little Miss Graphia copycat here said Searsex wanted me down here." Graphia glanced toward the black-haired girl, filing the copycat name away for later, then back towards her husband. "Lucifer-sama, you are aware of Naruto-sama's current condition, are you not?" "Yes, indeed I am Graphia-chan, however." Naruto approached Venelena and Zeoticus as Searsex attempted to avoid the couch, again. "What the hell was all that?" Naruto asked the lord and lady of the house. Venelena giggles into her hand demurely, a soft smile on her face. "Our son had just introduced our young guest to Rias when she basically clomped the poor dear." Searsex was upset that Rias didn't hug him instead. Zeoticus shook his head, a sigh leaving his lips. Sometimes he wondered where he went wrong with that boy. It had to have been the Civil War. War bends people in odd ways. Naruto looked over to the little girl in the midst of the Gremory family, the blank look still firmly in place, her yellow eyes seeming completely hollow. Kurama looked out of the corner of its eye as it felt Naruto grip its fur a bit too tightly. Naruto stepped toward the young girl, leaving the support of Kurama behind. Just 3 whole steps, no problem really. He knelt down and stared the young girl in the eyes, never noticing as the noise of the room quieted. "Hello, my name is Naruto. What's your name?" he asked softly, searching for something in the young girl's face. She stared back at him, through him. "Really, I don't have a name." She replied softly. "Come now, everyone has a name, even if it's one we give ourselves." Naruto smiled softly, holding a fist out to the girl. She looked at the extended fist in confusion, raising her own hand slowly. She glanced back into the kind blue eyes before her, unsure of what she should do. "Like this," Naruto said softly bumping his knuckles against the young girl's dainty hand. For the two, the world froze, a soft gasp escaping the girl. A life not her own flashed before her eyes, colors and faces, words and emotions. Sorrow, confusion, anger, acceptance, pride, loss, gratification, solidarity. Understanding. For Naruto, something similar was happening. He saw the girl's rough lifestyle, living on the streets with her sister. Sharon, Kuroka, street thieves, but happy. Then peace. Accepted into a family, happy. Then scorn, desperation, anger, confusion, emptiness. The color of the world became unmuted and Naruto let his hand fall, a sorrowful look filled his eyes. "Sharon, is that your name?" The girl shook her head quickly, her eyes misting. "No, she gave me that name. That is not my name," the girl said strongly, her fist clenching at her sides. "It wasn't. She abandoned her. She left her. She had no right to decide her name." A warm feeling wrapped the white-haired girl up, and she opened her eyes, the same kind blue, understanding eyes gazed back at her. A smile was on his face as he wrapped his orange and black haori around the girl and it broke her. She launched at Naruto and wrapped her arms around the blonde's neck, a harsh sob escaping the small girl. Naruto gently wrapped his arms around the girl, a calm shushing sound exiting his lips. Everyone else in the room took in the scene with confusion. What had Naruto done to receive that kind of reaction? They had just bumped knuckles. Rias was a bit put out, staring at Naruto putting Sherwon's hair. No one else had been able to get any real reaction from the girl. Even Rias fawning over her had been met with bland annoyance. How had he done that? Sirzex cleared his throat, pulling most everyone's attention to himself. Naruto slowly stood, the girl still wrapped in his arms. She's really light. Has she not eaten? I'm glad this is how everything has played out even without me explaining what's going on. Naruto looked at Sirzex, much the same as everyone else was. This is Sharon, younger sister of the newly marked sulfur monosulfide rank Rouge Devil Kuroka. She was to be executed for her sister's crime of killing her former king. Gasps came from multiple sources around the room, even as Sharon tightened her arms around Naruto's neck. Naruto slightly held the girl to his chest tighter, an angry scowl swallowing his usually kind visage. The hell she is, Naruto declares loudly, unheeded by the looks he received from Akeno and Rias, the surprise in their eyes. As you can imagine, I am fully against this. I convinced the ruling family to place her under my care. She will be monitored by me, to ensure nothing like what happened with her sister happens with her. Sirzex spoke resolutely, his eyes staring into Naruto's. I had hoped you would take her under your care, that or Rias reincarnate her. Rias looked at her older brother in shock. It seems she is already quite attached to you. Sirzex gave Naruto an appraising look, still trying to puzzle out how he got through to the stone-faced girl he had met earlier that day. Naruto felt his face soften at the request, glancing straight the girl in his arms, before nodding firmly. I'll leave it up to her to decide, but I'll keep an eye on her all the same. Not to monitor for a threat, but to make sure nothing happened. It seems Sirzex understood his intent, based on the smile on his face. Come Graphia, we still have much to do. Naruto watched the two devils disappear in a flash of red. He turned to Venelena, about to speak when she waved a hand. I'll have the room next to yours made up. Akeno and Rias can take her into town tomorrow and take her shopping. Naruto smiles at her gratefully. He saw what she went through, saw her sorrow. He wanted to help her, any way he could. You used that, didn't you? Kurama's voice questioned him, making everyone look at the fox in confusion. Ha ha ha, you know me T0 well my friend. I saw that look in her eyes, the one I'm all too familiar with. Naruto allowed one hand to softly rub Sherwon's hair, a little amazed at how soft it was considering the amount of grim covering her. Rias, would you be kind enough to come give me a hand? She'll need a bath when she wakes up, Naruto said as he turned and walked back towards his room. It was best the girl rest for a little, the emotional trauma obviously took its toll. Ah, see coming Naruto-kun, Rias said as she shook herself from her stupor, quickly giving chase to the tall blonde. Akeno watched as everyone went their separate ways and had to smile softly. That was so like Naruto, always saving the damsel in distress. After all, he did save her. Flashback. She was running, her breath ragged and coming in heavy gasps, but she couldn't stop. They would catch her if she was still for even a second. They would kill her. She's over there. A voice called from further down the alley, causing a flash of panic in her heart. A sharp right made her crash into a wall, scraping along her left arm and causing her to bleed lightly. She pushed herself forward even as she winced. There was light at the end of the alley with people walking around. There, she could lose them in the crowd. So close. It's right there. Just a. Akeno tripped over an upturned trash can, sliding along the ground roughly, her cries seemingly to go unnoticed to the people passing the alley. She tried to force herself back to her feet, only for a hand to grab her by her long black hair. Another cry ripping from her lips as the grip tightened. With a quick toss backward, Akeno felt more hands clasp onto her, ignoring her screams and struggles. No, somebody, help. She wasn't sure if she was actually saying it, but she was fighting, trying desperately to free herself. A heavy fist smashed into her face, making her halt. Stop moving, abomination. A voice growled above her. Ropes made their way around her form, the group of people preparing to take her away. Hot tears of anger filled her eyes, cursing the cause of all this. That man, that vile, cowardly man. It was his fault she was here, his fault she was hated. His fault she was hunted. Her bastard father. Oi, what the fuck do you think you're doing? A voice made all movement in the alley halt, and one man stood from the group, allowing Akeno to see the one who shouted. Hair like the sun, dressed in orange and black. This is a the standing ringleader tried to speak, only to be cut off by a fist to the face. Flashback end. Akeno would never forget the day Naruto saved her from her former family. It took some negotiating, but eventually, Rias was entrusted with keeping her in line. Over the last few months they had grown to be almost sisters, and Akeno was eternally grateful to the blonde and red duo for shopping that day. She remembered asking them both why they did it a few weeks after everything was settled. What do you mean? A little girl was being tied up by a group of grown men. What kind of monster doesn't step in? Naruto had replied. Naruto-kun may be an idiot sometimes, but he is an excellent judge of character. Plus it was accepting their terms, or having Naruto beat them all up. Was the exasperated reply she received from Rias. Yes, a strange duo, but people she would do anything for. Even accept a random newcomer that might be competition later. Naruto laid a blanket over Shirwan's sleeping form, her pristine white hair glowing in the moonlight. Rias had been kind enough to help the girl bath and let her borrow some clothes. He slid a hand through her hair softly, before making towards the exit at a slow jot. Naruto saw Rias waiting against the door, a strange look on her face. You okay, kiddo? Naruto snapped her out of her thinking with a quick ruffle of her hair, a scowl in her face as she slapped at his hand. Stop doing that, she muttered angrily. She was still annoyed at his insistence at not being turned, but something else was bothering her, and only he could explain it. What did you do earlier? With her? Why did she hug you like that? Rias asked as they walked down the hall side by side. A hand was over her heart, her eyes searching the floor. It wasn't normal for someone to react that way to someone, but she remembered how Akeno had basically done the same thing after she had come around, and she, herself, had trusted Naruto almost instantaneously. Was he? Naruto chuckled lightly as a hand landed on the crown of her head, bringing them both to a stop. Ever since Kurama and me have been partners, have had this ability. I can connect my heart to another's through the bump of a fist. I feel what they feel, how their lives have been, and they see the same for me. Naruto looked out the window they had stopped by. I suppose you could say it's like a telepathic sacred gear. Because of Kurama, I can see another's pain and understand them. Rias looked at the blonde for a moment, but doesn't that mean you suffer the same as they have? That seems so cruel, so heartless. I suppose you could say that, but you know a bit about my life before coming here. Naruto smiled at the girl. A kind dashing smile that seemed to make the stars sparkle brighter. If it means helping someone, I can endure. That's what it means to be a shinobi after all. It seemed cruel, harsh even, to give someone the power to live through the same suffering someone else had, but it also seemed so. Naruto. You're amazing, Rias heard herself whisper, a slight awe in her tone. Naruto chuckled as he rubbed the back of his head. I am kind of awesome, aren't I? He spoke braggadociously. Rias felt her face sink into a deadpan, before her arm shot out and caught the blonde in the side. He doubled over almost instantly. Hey, I'm still injured here. Rias huffed as she made to march off. Well, if you were so awesome, you wouldn't be injured, would you? She shrugged as she walked away. Naruto grinned through his wincing. He was glad she wasn't mad at him anymore. Now if only he could get her to stop hitting him randomly. 5 days, 4 hours, 17 minutes. That is how long Sharon, now known as Kaneko, had been a part of her new family. Since she had moved into the, for lack of a better word, mansion that the other three resided in within Ko. Sometimes she finds herself questioning if it was a good idea or not. I think she would look good in this Akeno. Rias exclaimed as she held a white blouse under Kaneko's chin. She had already been forced into a frilly white dress for the excursion. Akeno in her odd Miko outfit and Rias looking ever the fashionista with a comfortable set of jeans and a t-shirt. A hat landed on her head, wicker in make, with a wide brim. Kaneko-chan makes anything look cute, Rias-sama. Akeno replied as she held a small bundle of clothes. A teasing smile on her face as the short cat girl glared at her balefully. No hats. The Neko deadpanned, pulling the hat off her head and glaring at it as if it should spontaneously combust. It was their second excursion out to the city in the last week, and frankly, Kaneko was not comfortable. A warm laugh drew all the girls' attention, as an involuntary blush made its way to Kaneko's face. She was beginning to adore that laugh. It was like sunshine. He was always so bright. It really marveled her. Naruto stared at the 3 charges he was tasked with for the day and couldn't help but laugh. Akeno and Rias had been using Kaneko as a life-sized doll for the last 20 minutes and he could tell the girl was becoming agitated. Perhaps a trip to his regular outfitter wasn't such a good idea. The poor lass looked like she was about to rip that blouse to shreds. Don't you think that's enough clothes? Little Roan doesn't seem like much for fashion. Naruto chuckled as he leaned against the checkout counter. The cashier shared in his smile. Ma Naruto-kun, they're girls. Let them have their fun. The brown-haired woman spoke, lightly placing a hand on Naruto's arm. I suppose you're right, Chichi-san. Naruto said, hanging his head a little. He really hated shopping, but he could never say no to these girls. Rias especially, considering she was his job. Suddenly Naruto perked up. I know. How about I pay for those clothes, and we go get ice cream? He tapped his right prosthetic hand with his left fist. Just cause he had to be with them out on the town, doesn't mean he couldn't bribe them with something they would all want. Rias and Akeno felt their faces light up a little. Ice cream was a sort of guilty pleasure for each of them, and since Naruto was buying that meant they could dig in. Ice cream? A soft voice brought everyone one up short. All eyes turned to Kaneko, who looked all sorts of confused. Constantly looking between the other 4 individuals in the small shop. Kaneko-chan, have you never tried ice cream? Rias asked, an awkward sort of worry in her voice. Her face contrite. She had never heard of anyone not having ice cream before. A soft shake of white hair made the 12-year-old redhead's heart clench. She really should have realized. Naruto had told her about Kaneko growing up as a street urchin under her older sister's care. No matter how settled she seemed to be with them, Kaneko had grown up in a much harsher environment. Something like ice cream would have been seen as frivolous, unnecessary. Akeno caught her king's eyes and felt her mood dampen a little, something the blonde sage picked up on. Naruto let a soft smile cross his face as the girls walked toward the counter. A sort of somber silence fell over the group as Chi-Chi rung up the clothing items. Naruto pulled out a bright orange wallet with the face of a toad on it. A gift from Rias last year. Don't worry girls. Little Roan is with us now, she'll get to experience a whole new lifestyle. You two will have to help her out. Naruto spoke softly as he lay a small stack of bills on the counter. Chi-Chi smiled and thanked him as she handed 3 bags to the blonde. Rias and Akeno felt a small swell of guilt at their blatant disbelief, while Kaneko blushed brightly. Her foot shot out and lightly, to Naruto anyway, connected with the blonde's shin. She hadn't been sure before, but she definitely heard that Forsaken nickname the time. I told you not to call me that, she said, embarrassment clear in her tone. Naruto just let his free left hand land on her head and ruffled the girl's hair as he grinned. Yes you did, but I will call you that anyway. The girl looked away, a small huff leaving her. Why? She demanded lightly. She hated the name her sister gave her. The name that acted as the bond between them. She hated how it sounded. How it was written. She hated every letter and syllable. Why did he have to use part of it when he referred to her? When Naruto said it, she couldn't help but feel happy for some reason. Couldn't help but feel so light and carefree. She didn't want to feel like that when it came anywhere near the person who abandoned her. A name is a promise, Little Roan. Rias gave you the name Kaneko, her promise to always be with you. To support you. To act as your caregiver. Your sister gave you the name Sharon, her promise to always love you and have a piece of her with you. Naruto let his smile soften as the girl looked up at him, questions in her eyes. I call you Lit Roan because my promise is to always protect you. To be there when you need me. That is the piece of me you will always get to carry with you. That one bit of my soul that will never leave you. That is for you, and only you. A quiet feel over the group as the 3 girls let his words flow over them. Naruto could see Kaneko was still confused as to why he would use her real name, unlike everyone else that Rias knew. He did what he was best at, and jumped at the issue head first. A soft sigh left the blonde. Good thing the store was empty. Not to mention that Chi-Chi liked him well enough. Your sister did an awful thing, from what we know. However, I've learned in life that not everything is black and white. A soft laugh escaped the resident ninja at the unintentional pun. Kaneko felt her eyes widen the blonde's words. A white anger lit in her heart. What, I'm just supposed to forgive her for abandoning me? She shouted, arms clenched at her sides, angry tears pooling in her eyes. She hated feeling like this. She hated when Naruto would immediately get to the heart of her without even trying. She just wanted to lock it all away, damn it. Maybe she did it for you? Maybe you should hate her? Maybe Kuroka is a horrible person that deserves to be hunted down like a dog and forced to pay for her sins. The harsh tone Naruto took made Rias gasp, as Kaneko looked up at him in surprise and grief. Naruto rubbed a certain spot along Kaneko's head, and she couldn't stop her ears from appearing, a soft purr escaping her as his rough fingers traced her delicate ears. A soft look crossed over Naruto's face as the girl seemed to melt under his touch. The fact of the matter is, maybe is all you have. Until Kuroka can answer the questions you carry, you won't know what is really true. I've seen what half-truths can do to siblings. I don't want to watch the same thing happen to you. Naruto spoke with a sad smile. Kaneko felt a slight burning in her eyes and looked away once more. How did he do that? It was like walls were less than useless around this man. Every time he talked to her she just felt so, URG. I still don't like it, she insisted with a pout. To which Naruto just laughed. Yes, well, not all gifts are well received, little Roan. Akeno couldn't help but feel jealous. She knew Naruto meant he would be there for all of them, but something about the way he and Kaneko acted together was so familiar. Like they had known each other for years longer than she could imagine. She knew she shouldn't be envious, but she couldn't help it. Her self-image was low as it was, due to that man. Rias just smiled at her guardian watching as he slowly eased Kaneko back into a better mood. It did irk her a bit, to see Naruto and her new rook being so close, but she also knew that he understood the poor girl in a way, probably, no one else ever could. He had seen her life through her eyes. Walked a mile in Kaneko's shoes as it were. Plus it was Naruto. What happened to the others, the ones you saw? Kaneko's soft voice filled the empty clothing store. Her eyes still cast to the floor. If he had seen what half-truths wrought, then maybe she could have Naruto help her decide on what she should do about her sister. Rias felt her own curiosity take control and she looked towards Naruto, only to see the faraway look he had in his eyes. Well, I ended up here. The blonde spoke cryptically, confusing all three girls. Before anything could be said, Naruto forced a grin, pushing the dark tale of the Uchiha clan to the back of his mind. Such things were not meant to be shared on such a nice day. Come on girls, I hear some sherbet calling my name, Naruto said as he strolled toward the door, bag secure in his right hand. Eyes once more taking a lighter emotion. The ring of a bell signaled the exit of the blonde, a tolling silence followed. A woman could really fall for that man, huh girls? Chi-Chi said with a teasing grin after Naruto made his way out of earshot. The grin only widened as each girl blushed and looked away, before glaring back at her, blushes still prominent. Naruto didn't realize it, but he was a godsend for all three of them. A first friend for Rias, a knight in shining armor for Akeno, and an empathetic ear for Kaneko. He had shared their stories and circumstances with her, to a point, and she could already see the makings of a crush with each girl. It was hard not to, seeing how kind and warm the blonde tended to be. The heart of a young girl was delicate and Naruto just had this ability to reach anyone it seemed. The girls all ran out the door to meet up with their caretaker, making Chi-Chi sigh, as Rias stopped long enough to stick her tongue out at her. She honestly felt bad for the idiot. When those girls became teenagers, and finally realized the emotion they held for their guard, it was probably gonna turn into a war zone around the blonde. She watched through the glass as Naruto laughed while Rias ranted at him about something. The soft, easy smile never leaving her face. Yeah, definitely fall for him. A thin black tail waved behind her lazily. Kaneko stared at the orange and white mass before her with trepidation. A short walk found the party of four in a family ice cream shop in the Market district. Some quick orders and seat grabbing later, Kaneko was about to taste her first bowl of sherbet ice cream. I still think we should have started her with vanilla. Ria's voice spoke from the opposite of the booth. With Akeno digging into her mint beside Kaneko, Rias with her double chocolate chip, and Naruto with a bowl of sherbet of his own, Kaneko felt strangely at peace with the whole setting. Ma Rias, trust me on this. I had a friend that taught me the tricks of figuring out someone's tastes with but a few glances. Naruto placated as he waved a spoon in front of his face. While him and Choji had never been what one would call close, he hung out with the big-boned ninja often enough they traded a few tips and tricks. Naruto was sure little Roan would love the gift to man that was orange ice cream. You're just saying that because you want to take the ice cream for yourself when Kaneko ends up hating it. Rias accuses, pointing her spoon at her guardian. She knew the blonde's game. Stop smiling at her, damn it. The clatter of a spoon drew 3 eyes to the youngest girl at the booth. Kaneko felt her jaw hang a little loosely at the burst of flavors rolling over her tongue, a certain shine filling her eyes. It was cold, but sweet. And it tasted of oranges. Ha, told you she would love it. Naruto's voice broke Kaneko out of her stunned state, a prompting smile appearing on his face. He motioned for her to go on, and within seconds Kaneko was halfway through her bowl after requiring her spoon. Naruto-sama, you are K. Akeno, how do you do that? Not only did you guess my favorite kind of ice cream, but it seems you guessed our little Neko's favorite as well. Akeno asked with a contemplative look on her face. It could be chalked up to coincidence, but if knowing Naruto for the last 10 months had taught her anything, it was that things were rarely a coincidence with him. She idly ate her chocolate mint, a measured spoonful at a time, staring at the adult of the group. Naruto scratches his neck with his prosthetic hand, looking at Akeno in confusion. It was a simple trick really, why was she so curious? Well, it mostly comes down to personality deciding one's taste. Take yourself for example, while prim and proper, you also have a taste for clashing with the wishes of others. Teasing and playful, but serious when necessary, I'd say. Naruto raised his spoon as if making a point. So you would in turn like flavors that clash. Take chocolate and mint. Chocolate is sweet, savory, something everyone can enjoy on some level, while mint is more of an acquired taste, especially in ice cream, seeing as the cold accents the flavor. A smile crossed Naruto's face here. In the case of Rias, it's a test in gluttony. Rias coughed as the words left Naruto's mouth, a harsh glare crossing her face. And what's that supposed to mean? Rias slammed her spoon onto the table, making her guard laugh lightly. Rias is a smart girl, kind to a fault, but she is also very greedy with the things she wants. I'm sure you've seen her anime collection by now. She once almost attacked me when I asked to borrow a series. Naruto grinned at the resident king, who had the decency to blush and look away. So in turn, her tastes move more toward accenting. She likes things that taste similar and accent one another, double chocolate, you see. Akeno raised an eyebrow at the blonde. It made some kind of sense when she thought about it. But how did he know Kaneko would like orange sherbet? But that doesn't explain how Kaneko-chan likes sherbet. She pointed out, that's because the Kaneko you know, and the little Roan I know, could be 2 separate people. When she was younger, little Roan was more expressive, more carefree. Things were hard, but she didn't care, as long as she had her sister. Naruto gazed at the Neko show, a sense of sadness washing over him. The girl was too lost in her newfound wonder to even be bothered by the conversation. Now, she is much more closed off, reserved if you will. Not that anyone could blame her. But parts of her old life are still there. Orange sherbet is sweet, yet tangy. A certain warmth of flavor that is almost masked by the cold of the ice cream. Naruto rounded off. Choji had made an effort to explain food and flavor to the blonde, and most of it had gone over his head, but the way it connected with someone's personality had stuck with him. That is strangely profound, Naruto-sama, Akeno said as she stared at her bowl. How do you know what Kaneko was like when she was younger? That plagued her. How did Naruto seem to know so much about the white-haired girl? Naruto looked at the black-haired girl, and something clicked. She was jealous. She had been around for almost a year, but Kaneko has just shown up and already it seemed as if she and Naruto understood each other to a whole different level. She felt out of the group. Naruto smiled as he held his left hand towards Akeno, diagonally across the table. The former priestess stared at the offered hand in confusion, her eyes latching on to Naruto's, asking her question. I have a skill, something I received from the big fox back home. Like I told Rias a few nights ago, it allows me to connect with others. If you like, I can connect with you. Akeno looked back at the offered hand, curious and a little nervous as to what could happen. Naruto had been nothing but kind in her stay with Rias. Well, besides when he got annoyed at the whole sama thing. She could trust him, right? Akino's smaller hand bumped into Naruto's and the world faded. Lights and images flashed in her mind, showing her cruelty and love and war and peace. An overwhelming sensation filled her heart as she pulled her fist back in shock. What was that?" she asked, a hand flashing up to catch the tear that begins to trail down her cheek. Naruto gave an apologetic smile, as he handed her a napkin. "That was my life. Every emotion, every friend, every phalancher. I'm sorry you had to go through that." Naruto spoke softly as to avoid drawing attention to their table. Kaneko looked up from her bowl and took in the strange silence around her. Akino seemed distraught with something, and Naruto looked sad for some reason. "Did you know I would go through that? That I would see all those things?" Akino asked. It seemed cruel to her, for him to do such a thing to a person, and her voice was almost biting in nature. "Of course, we can hide ourselves on the surface, but inside, we're open books. I can connect to the deepest parts of a person, and see and hear and feel their troubles." Naruto leaned against the table, softly placing his left hand over the right hand Akino had left on the smooth surface. "Your mother was a very kind woman. I'm sure she would be proud of what kind of person you are." He spoke softly and Akino stood up in shock, the clamor in the restaurant grinding to a halt at the commotion. Akino looked around at all the eyes on her, before slowly lowering back to her seat. Her eyes became shadowed by her hair and softly she asked, "How do you know about my mother?" Naruto just leaned back, a sad understanding smile carved into his lips. "As I said, I can look into the hearts of others thanks to Kurama. As you saw my life, I saw yours. I did the same with little Roan." The white-haired girl perked up at the name, and Naruto ignored the thump on his shin. "I never connected with you before, because I thought Rias had everything sorted. And she has done a wonderful job of helping you cope." Naruto let his smile lighten as he dropped his right hand onto the redhead's head. Said girl blushed under the praise and sank a little lower into her seat. "That must be a terrible gift." Akino spoke with a watery tone. A napkin dabbed on her cheek, even as Kaneko leaned into her right side a little. A small gesture of comfort. "It can be an awful thing, sure. But only if I let it. This power, its ability to let me help others, that's all that matters. How can I help someone else with the gifts I've been given, ya know?" Naruto said as he leaned against his hand. "We can ignore parts of ourselves, but it only weakens us in the end. I accept the flaws that come with this ability, just like I accept Rias' conquest for identity, little Roan's loss of tranquility, or your nature as half-fallen angel." Naruto spoke with conviction. Each of them had a part of themselves they didn't want to deal with. Pieces that they wished they could rid themselves of. But to him it was all just part of who they were. The first step in accepting themselves was the belief that every part of them was important. If they couldn't believe in themselves for now, he would do it for them. "Let's head back home, nay? You two have school and I have to take little Roan to the registrations office to enroll her." Naruto smiled at each girl, trying to put them at ease. It always hurt others when you brought up their supposed flaws. He didn't think anyone was in the mood for ice cream anymore. So, that was pretty heavy. Rias spoke from her place at the kitchen counter. She was currently assisting Naruto with dinner preparation by cutting up vegetables. Akino and Kaneko had both retired to their rooms after returning home, so Rias was using this as a chance to question Naruto. Naruto hummed in agreement, focusing intently on the chopped meat being cooked on the stove. "How come you've never used that ability before?" "Before Kaneko-chan got here, I hadn't even heard of it." She tried not to show it, but Rias was actually a little hurt that he would hide something so important from her. Almost like he didn't trust her. A balled-up napkin bounced off her head, forcing her to look at Naruto's back. "There really wasn't a need for it. I didn't hide it from you with malicious intent." A quick shake of the pan renewed the loud sizzle of the meat. "I was in a pretty dark place my first few days here, little Red." Rias felt a blush color her face at the childish nickname. "No matter how happy I seemed, I was still very hurt about being trapped here. A lot of things I left unfinished back in my home, ya know." Naruto glanced over his shoulder, locking eyes with the young girl. "Would you really want to be forced to see my life while I'm at my lowest?" The mood in the kitchen turned a touch darker, even the smell of the cooking meats not seeming as nice. "But why didn't you bring it up later?" Rias trusted her first friend, truly she did. But it nagged at her, about how they could have been closer. How they could have understood each other better, so why? A soft chuckle left Naruto as he stilled. After a moment a familiar clarity washed over Rias as the room brightened. Smells became sharper and the beating of her heart increased rapidly. All too soon it was gone, leaving Rias feeling warm and loved. I may not have used my powers to open our emotions to one another, but we really don't need that, do we? Naruto cast a cheeky smile over his shoulder, tossing the meat in the pan once more. Rias put a hand to her chest, the chopping knife left forgotten on the countertop. Of course, how could she forget? Naruto was bonded to her in a very unique way, able to pass on to her his energy and power. A small part of him was always at the back of her mind, pushing her forward. What if I wanted you to share your life with me? Rias said after a moment, her eyes catching the broad shoulders of Naruto's back. The blonde turned to her completely, a strange grin on his face. Now Rias, share my life with you? Aren't you a little young to be making marriage proposals? The blush on Rias' face darkened considerably, and she waved her hands at the blonde frantically. No wait. You know what I meant. I meant the power thing. Naruto's booming laugh made Rias look to the floor, embarrassment rolling off her in waves. A large hand tousled her hair and for a moment she just basked under the warmth of the one man she was certain would always protect her. I know what ya meant kiddo, I'm just teasing ya. The laughed statement rang throughout the kitchen. I would sink with you of course, if that's what you really want. I just never felt the need to with you. Naruto confessed, an air of certainty around him. Rias looked at Naruto in confusion, her blush receding slightly. What do you mean? She couldn't help asking. Well, we are always connected, aren't we? I know where you are at all times, and you can bask in the chakra and natural energy I can manipulate. I didn't want to cheapen our bond, for lack of a better way to phrase it. Naruto cupped his chin in thought, as he tried to put his feelings into words. Think of it like this, he began. With Akano and Little Roan, I saw what they saw, felt what they felt. It's like a massive chest code for those video games you're fond of. All of the payout, none of the work. Naruto leaned against the countertop by the stove, one hand turning the knob to lower the temperature of the flame under the meat. Now from there, it would all be smooth sailing basically. They can come to me with anything because I trust them and they trust me. We know each other implicitly. A soft smile crossed Naruto's face here. With you, I have to put forth more effort. I have to go out of my way to understand you. I have to work to make sure I'm doing the right thing when you are involved. Pushing off the counter, Naruto turned, moving the cooking pan from one eye to the next. Not to say I will always know how to help Akano or Little Roan, or even that I will always understand them, but for now, I know exactly how to help them, and exactly what to say. Makes me feel kinda like I'm manipulating them, ya know? Grabbing a small bottle of spices, Naruto began to garnish the chopped steak bits. Rias felt a wave of realization wash over her, and honestly, she felt touched. So, you want to get to know me the normal way? She tested. Bingo, Naruto said, raising a free hand and pointing to the ceiling. Right now, Akano and Little Roan need someone who can relate to them implicitly. A support beam as it were. You however, my adorable little charge, Rias felt another blush cover her face, are free from such woes. To you, I can be just another person you count on, or just a bodyguard. You have trusted family and friends you can turn to, whereas those two only really have you and me. Naruto moved the pan of ready meats to the island, beaconing Rias over with the vegetables. At the end of the day, I'm always connected to you, but if I want to understand you, I have to apply myself. And that's what I want to do. Learn about you as we go. Naruto finished as he began to arrange the plates for all four of them. Rias passed off the plate of chopped vegetables, a small look of wonder on her face. For most of her young life Rias had secretly been wondering if anyone would ever see her. Not just the Gremory heir or Lord Lucifer's little sister. A soft pink dusted her cheeks, and she found the floor mighty interesting. You shouldn't say stuff like that to a girl, Naruto baka. The redhead murmured, her hands clasped before her. Yes, and the Gremory heir shouldn't make marriage proposals. Naruto shot back with a teasing smile, only to step to the side as Rias swung at him. Go get the girls. Dinner is ready. Rias stuck her tongue out at the blonde, before undoing the apron she had been wearing. As she exited the kitchen, a soft, thank you, made its way back to the blonde. A smile split Naruto's face. Anytime, Little Red. Naruto looked out of the cabin window in no small sense of nostalgia. Snow was slowly drifting to the ground outside, and if not for the roaring fire some feet from him, Naruto was sure he would be frostbitten by now. He remembered a moment like this from his mission to the former Land of Snow. At one of the shot sites, Naruto had managed to watch the snow drift lazily just as it was now. It's almost peaceful, the blonde mused to himself, resting his cheek in his hand. Naruto-sama. Not that I mind, but why are we still here? Naruto turned to the three girls situated in the floor. He honestly felt bad for them. The last 2 days had been harsh for all three of them, and for the most part, it was his fault. Flashback. Naruto took a deep breath of the cold air that surrounded him, a small smile crossing his face. He loved the cold. Growing up in Konoha, snow was a rare occurrence due to the mild climate, though it did happen. While most people abhor the cold, it always gave Naruto a small sense of wonder. He was currently on assignment for Searsex, a scouting mission it had been called. Deep in the heart of the Wallachian Mountains, the vampire clans had called for an intervention by the Four Mao, and Searsex has tasked him with the preparation of their arrivals, trusting his judgment on security procedure. It was mostly a formality, Naruto knew. The true reason for him accepting stemmed from Searsex's decision to bring Rias along, making it a sort of learning experience for the girl, to see the politicking of the devil world. Of course, this was being kept from the girl and her two friends till the last possible moment. A surprise trip to the mountains would be fun for them. Still, with 2 of the 4 Mao in attendance, anyone dumb enough to crash the event was in for a hurting. However, having the kids there meant Naruto actually had to scout out the area. For the most part, the small village he currently resided in was quite quaint. Low population density, surrounded by trees except for the road bisecting the village in two. Off in the distance sat a monolithic castle, carved in the side of the mountain. Old, rustic, boastful. Vampires certainly knew how to make a statement. Most citizens in the area were pleasant enough, and while the few who weren't were assholes, Naruto hadn't had any major issues. Now he was just waiting on Searsex and Serafal's arrive, with Rias and Sona to follow a bit after, along with their dismal peerages, and all would be set. The wind was calm, the sun setting. Really, it was gorgeous here. Romania could be a nice holiday spot. An echo of an explosion tore Naruto from his thoughts. A quick glance to the left and he could see the smoke overtop the crest of the tree line. 10 miles. Maybe more. Narrowed blue eyes marred Naruto's usual relaxed face. That wasn't right. In his questioning, no one mentioned any kind of armed conflict in the area, and the dispatch from the clans had only been about a small dispute on territory. It couldn't have exploded in so little time, not with Console on the way. A small flash of red pulled Naruto's attention back into the house he stood on the porch of. 3 figures appearing before him. Searsex-chan. I thought you said Naruto-tan would be here. A bubbly voice resounded of the walls of the small cabin. The owner of the voice was a young woman, with violet eyes and long black hair tied into large pigtails. Though short in stature, a dismal 5'4", the most apt word to describe her would be stacked. A large bust and slender waist, with lovely hips to round it off. Naruto honestly thought the woman was gorgeous. And her childish personality just clicked with him. He is here, Serafal, Searsex said with a small grin at his childlike companion. Serafal was a delight to have around, but she tended to be a little airheaded. Naruto for his part could understand the confusion of the diminutive Mao. He was in disguise after all. Clad in a large white blouse shirt with a black vest over top, a black hat sat on his recently dyed brown hair. A heavy application of concealer hid his distinctive whisker marks, with brown contacts hiding his eye color. Had it not been for his tan complexion, he could have passed for a Romanian native in his traditional clothes. With it being the 27th of December, no one would have questioned it either. Many would believe Naruto incapable of performing such cloak and dagger techniques, believing him too open and honest. Those people would be very wrong. With his career as a child prankster, and spending so many years as a pupil to Konoha's premier spy master, Naruto was more than an old hand at hiding in plain sight. The one black mark on his record being the fight that broke out as he was attempting to drag Jiraiya out of a bar in the Land of Stone. Stupid Iwa Nen. Forcing himself from his reminiscing, Naruto addressed the redhead before him. Sears, up until a moment ago, we were all good to go here. However, an explosion just took place some distance from here. The echo was faint, but you can see the smoke over the tree line to the south. He spoke in a no-nonsense tone. Rias was due to arrive an hour after Sears, and he needed to know if this would endanger his charge, now. Sears looked a little shocked at the serious tone, before nodding. He understood Naruto's urgency. Hopefully this wouldn't affect their negotiations. Seraphol looked between the two men in confusion, a little lost in all the seriousness going on around her. She recoiled when the strang brown-haired man vanished in a spiral of leaves. That was Naruto's technique. She shouted in excitement. Graphia, having stayed in the back of the trio, only shook her head in dissatisfaction. How did she ever lose to that woman? Flashback end. A knock was heard from the front door, before the turning of a heavy lock sounded throughout the room, drawing all eyes to the wooden structure. Sears' form breached the doorway and Rias shot to her feet, immediately questioning her brother. Ni-sama, has there been any word? Are they letting Naruto-kun go? Why is he even being held? You know he didn't do anything bad, right? The questions were rapid fire, and Sears tried to quiet the girl with a few hand gestures. Rias, please, let your brother speak. Naruto's calm voice came from beside the window. Immediately the girl seemed cowed and Sears felt a flash of jealousy. How come Rias didn't act like that when he spoke? Thank you, Naruto-kun. I've spoken with the clan councils and they've decided to hear you out. Other than that, we may have to break you out of here. Sears spoke seriously. Things weren't looking good for the blonde shinobi, and he would be damned before he left the man to the chopping block. Vampires had a history of being unreasonable. I appreciate that, Sears, but they are well within their rights. By their laws, I committed a crime. I have to own up to it. Naruto replied with a smile. It was dumb, but he understood. The war between the two factions of vampires had made both sides tense and tight-wound. Someone like him coming in and making it even more complicated wasn't the best thing in the world. A brief pause passed through the room. How are they? Naruto asked softly, a slightly worried look coloring his eyes. Flashback. When he came across what seemed to be a burning lab, Naruto knew something was horribly wrong. This wasn't on any map he had been provided for the mission, and none of the locals had given any indication that it was here. This was a well-kept secret, and those were never good in areas of unrest. He stopped momentarily to absorb the chakra permeating the area and sunk himself into sage mode, feeling for any life signs in the burning structure. It took a little over 20 minutes for him to cross the 12 miles of woodlands and mountains between this building and the village. He may still be able to save someone. To his puzzlement, however, nothing in the building seemed alive, which meant one of two things. He was too late, or the building had been evacuated before the explosion. Both of which came with their own set of problems. A waning life sign in the distance grabbed his attention. It was heading deeper into the mountain pass, away from the burning structure in front of him. The individual was injured. Panicked, Naruto flashed away at full tilt, hoping he could save someone. Who Naruto came upon was a surprise. It was a boy, blonde hair, bleeding heavily from one side. The drab clothes the boy wore seemed to be doing little good against the elements, and exhaustion was clear. Naruto made to call out, but the boy collapsed face first before the word could leave him. Hey! Naruto shouted as he cleared the distance between them in scant moments. He rolled the boy on his side and took in the damage he could see. With a half-ram seal, Naruto pressed his left hand to the boy's chest, a flash of gold passing over him and the boy, halting the bleeding in an instant. Naruto looked the boy over a bit more, trying to look for any other signs of damage, thankfully finding none. What had happened to his boy? Was he in that fire? Why couldn't he feel any? Before the next thought could pass his mind, Naruto was forced to grab the boy and roll forward, spinning on his knee and pulling a knife from the small of his back. Very interesting. You are quick. For a human. A heavily accented voice spoke from the cloaked figure that sat in the place Naruto just occupied, a hand half embedded in the ground, the intent having been to impale the shinobi. Naruto tightened his grip on the knife. This thing was no joke. He could feel the malice and darkness rolling off of it in waves. Old, powerful. Who are you? Were you the one that did this? Naruto asked, his tone harsh. Someone had hurt this boy. Severely. His was not one to take the attempted murder of children lightly. "I am the lord of this land. What I do here is above refute from some mortal." The voice responded, mocking in nature. That caught Naruto a little flat-footed. The vampire clans had been at one state of civil unrest or another for close to 150 years, the last legitimate ruler of Romania having been dispatched by a professor who went by the name Van Helsing. This being couldn't possibly be claiming to be. "Now tell me, mortal, why are you interfering in my meal?" The dark voice called to him. A shift in the wind exposed the man's face. Long hair as black as night. Cold red eyes that cut into the heart of mortal men. Pale skin that seemed to glow in the early moonlight. A beard and mustache that accented the man's face handsomely. Cold, ruthless. Had Naruto not known the likes of true monsters from his own world, he was sure he would be overcome with fear. Lucky for him, Naruto was used to far greater threats. "My name is Naruto. I heard the explosion of the building not far from here, and tracked this boy from the inferno." Naruto spoke, taking great care of his word choice. It wasn't an outright lie, nor did it explain who he was or why he was really here. The greatest lies ever told held a hint of the truth. The figure just looked at him for a moment, before disappearing in a blur. Naruto once more rolled to the side, dragging the boy in his arms along with him. It was hard to fight and protect someone else. Coming out of his role, Naruto tossed his kunai at the wraith of a man, barely nicking the man's cheek. The beast in human form stopped, a strange look crossing his face. "Not since that bastard doctor as someone made me bleed. You will be a fine kill." Dispersing into a cluster of bats, Naruto bit back a curse as his senses were loaded with multiple pints of the dark presence that man gave off. This wasn't good. He could fight this guy, of that he had no doubt, but protecting this boy at the same time. Not to mention he needed to get him somewhere warm. Now, a half-ram seal spawned 4 copies of the blonde shinobi, one of which he passed the unconscious boy to. It promptly departed in a flash of yellow, leaving Naruto with the other 3 to fight this strange man. He's watching, waiting for something. What is he? The blonde thought to himself as he made his 3 copies spread out. A poof of smoke to his left made the remaining 3 blondes turn that way, only for a second poof to make Naruto and his clone glance left. This guy was fast, scary so, but not the fastest he had dealt with. The 2 Narutos stood back to back, both flashing through a few hand seals. Kaden, Fuuten. As one, the blondes exhaled a massive breath, the roar of fire and wind accompanied by the words, "Sage art. Breathe of the dragon." The blondes stayed back to back as they circled a full 360 degrees, engulfing the surrounding area in wind-enhanced white flames. A roar of pain met the attack, as the strange man appeared in the small clearing, slightly smoking. Half of his face slowly healed, the crisp smell of burning flesh attacking Naruto's nose. "So a mage this time, is it?" The man snarled, a deep scowl on his face. His eyes flashed dangerously, and Naruto knew things were about to pick up. Time to get the hell out of Dodge. Not exactly. Naruto mocked, a slight smile on his face. He shot his attacker a vulpine grin, before disappearing in a flash of yellow, his clone going up in a cloud of smoke. A roar of rage erupted from the burning forest, even as smoke climbed into the night sky. Flashback end. Naruto had fled after his clone had dispersed. Its job of getting the boy back to the cabin and informing Searsex of the situation completed. Had it been a part of Gremory territory, Naruto would have finished the fight. But he was a guest here. No telling how the council would react to the damage he had already done. They seem to be doing okay. The boy you found in the woods is still unconscious, but the other has awakened. Searsex informed. Honestly, he was a bit put out. Originally this had been a simple visit to help decrease the tension between the Teppa and Carmilla families. Now, one of his close friends was set to stand trial for some truly asinine reasons. They acted like a forest wouldn't grow back. Naruto let out a soft smile at the news. He was glad at least one of them was awake. Flashback. Naruto stood side by side with Searsex as Graphia worked the boy over with her healing magic. Naruto had done a good patch job with the seal of the sun on his hand, but he knew it also wasn't some cure-all skill. The fact that Bushier Brow Sensei was missing a foot last he saw of the man proved that much. Grafia has been healing him off and on for the last 12 hours, and had said this would be the last time magic would be necessary. After this it was all up to the boy. His body was healed, waking up was something she couldn't help with. Do you think this will cause a problem with the upcoming talks? Naruto asked softly, his eyes never leaving the boy, even as Grafia stopped channeling magic into him. Sirzex ran a hand through his hair, a huff leaving him. Honestly, there is no telling. From your recount of the fight, you most likely encountered a vampire. If it was someone on the council, we may have hell to pay. The first meeting was in a few hours, perhaps the news hadn't reached the council yet. I don't think it was. He seemed, I don't know how to put it. I've run into a few vampires in my time here, and something about this man felt off. Ancient even, Naruto said as he shook his head. From the few encounters he had had with vampires, Naruto knew something was off about the man from the forest. He seemed darker, like there was nothing left of him but anger and hunger. Naruto-kun? A soft voice called as the bedroom door opened slightly. Rias. She had been decidedly upset when she came through the teleportation circle only to see Naruto and Grafia bandaging up a young boy. She had demanded answers of the adult blonde almost immediately. Naruto had done his best to placate the girl, but her kind nature shone quite brightly in her insistence to help. Frankly, he was proud of the way Rias had acted. How is he doing? Rias asked as she slowly walked into the room, her eyes immediately locking onto the bed. The blonde boy hadn't looked too terrible when she arrived, but she was still able to see the blood stains on the discarded clothes by the bed. He's doing fine, Rias. Some rest and food will do him good. Naruto spoke back kindly as he walked to the girl. Naruto was quite proud of the redhead. She had shown a great level of concern for the stranger he had brought back to their temporary living space. Naruto kneeled down with a small smile, trying to ease the girl's concern. How about we head into town? We'll pick up some supplies and make a nice big meal for when he wakes up. Rias gazed into Naruto's eyes, searching for something. Seeming to find it, a soft, left her lips as she nodded her head. Why don't you and the girls get ready? I'll be right with you. Naruto patted the redhead on the head as he stood, watching as she exited the room, and hearing her call to her peerage members. The gentle look left Naruto's face as a stony expression replaced it. I think, given the circumstances, we should send the girls home. Naruto said as he stayed faced to the door, his voice barely above a whisper. You know she'll be very upset if you send her away. Sirzex replied, his tone uncertain. It still amazed him, the bond Rias and Naruto seemed to share. Naruto was the closest person to Rias, hands down. She loved their father and her older brother, but with Naruto it was something deeper. She followed his word like holy writ. Always did her best to follow after the blonde and make him proud. A small part, a dark part of Sirzex, was jealous of that bond. It preened under the thought of Naruto's and Rias being damaged. Naruto nodded, he knew what could happen but. I understand that, but this situation is becoming more unraveled. If this blows up, Naruto looked back at the older redhead. I'm not sure I can act in the best capacity to keep everyone safe. Sirzex shook his head, a strange sort of smile on his face. This was part of the reason he hated the jealousy he felt for the blonde. He was so pure. The man would lay down his life for anyone he deemed friend. Even those that could protect themselves. Naruto forced a heavy burden onto his own shoulders just so others could walk ahead easier. It was just impossible to hate the man. I think it should be fine for now. Unless something truly does come from your fight in the woods, I believe it would be beneficial to keep Rias and Sona here. Sirzex walked forward and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, a grin splitting his face. Besides, Rias can't go anywhere without her security. With those final words, the Mao left the room. Naruto looked at the only other conscious occupant of the room, busying herself with attempting to gather up the tattered remains of the boy's blood-stained clothes. Do you think I did the right thing, Grafia, bringing him here? Kurama has stayed at home, and Naruto needed to know if he let his bleeding heart make a mistake. That is not my place to say, Naruto-sama. Lucifer-sama trusts your judgment. Rias-sama and Serafal-sama also have faith in you. You must decide if that faith is well placed. The maid outfit-wearing devil replied softly. She had always been sure in the faith others placed in the blonde. He was resolute and determined, highly skilled and held in high regard by more than a few families for services past rendered. She understood where Naruto was coming from with his question, uncertain if his actions were worth the possible consequences, but she believed he made the right call. Even if she wouldn't voice it. It was above her station as a maid after all. Naruto just chuckled softly. Yeah, he should have expected such an answer. While not exactly close, the two of them got along well. He knew her tendencies of not answering things she believed above her. Such a strange woman. Thanks Graphia-chan. A soft, was the reply her received as she stepped out of the room. Naruto looked on, amused, as Sona and Rias argues over produce in a market stand inside the town square. They both had strong opinions on what kind of meal should be prepared, from stews to soups to whole feasts. They had been acting as each other's soundboard for about 15 minutes now, and it was almost enough to distract Naruto from the awkward situation he, himself, was stuck in. Namely his arm being trapped in Seraphal's grip. After she had heard of the plan to go shopping, she had all but demanded to go. Embarrassing Sona to no end, and making Naruto laugh. As it stood, Naruto, Seraphal, Sona, Rias, Akeno, Kaneko, and Sona's queen, Tsubaki, crowded around a fresh produce stand haggling prices and cooking ideas with each other. Kaneko kept giving him the stink eye for some reason that he hadn't been able to divine yet. The soft press of flesh on his arm once more broke Naruto from his thoughts, as Seraphal excitedly pointed around the village. The holiday decorations were still up, and a parade was lining the main road at the moment. It was like a big family outing. Suddenly a thought struck Naruto. Hey Saratan? Aren't you supposed to be at the meeting with Searsex? It was still early enough in the evening, a little past 4. The meeting should have started at approximately 4:15. Searsex-chan told me to accompany you. Came the childish Mao's giggling reply. He said, Levi-tan, make sure to keep Naruto-tan out of trouble, so here I am Tilda. That sounded reasonable, though Naruto doubted that's exactly how the conversation went. Oni-sama, the blonde tone of Sona come over the eldest of the troop. We are prepared to head home. Seraphal released the blonde in her grip, immediately snatching the young Sariti up in her arms. Oh so tan is so adorable. Just look at her Naruto-tan. Isn't she the cutest? Sona blushes bright red as she struggled in her sister's embrace, desperately trying to find some way free from the embarrassing situation. Naruto looked at the group of girls, Seraphal and Sona acting silly, Rias and Akeno laughing at Sona's misfortune, Tsubaki pleading with Seraphal to release her king, she shouldn't be turning blue, as Kaneko held Naruto's free hand, even as she still occasionally gave him a stink eye. Everything stopped for the small group of girls as a laugh washed over them. A bright warm sound that seemed to brighten up the world around them. Naruto stood, a deep laugh exiting him as he held his stomach. His face split into a wide smile, his eyes forced closed as his laugh echoed in the cheers and shouts of the parade. Finally, after much struggling, Naruto managed to calm himself, and he took in the stunned look of his troop of shoppers. He released Kaneko's hand and brought his hand to her head, softly rubbing her hair. He loved this. He really did. Back home, he rarely got moments like this. This freedom, this joy. Thank you, all of you. Naruto said, his voice colored in gratitude and peace, a sincerity that confused each girl there. He turned to the stand owner and gave his thanks, taking the bags the man had prepared. Before heading back to the cottage they all shared. He stopped a few feet away, turning back to the confused group of women. Well, come on. Dinner should be prepared soon. I'm terribly hungry after all. As the younger girls glanced at each other, only to shrug and follow after the tall blonde, Seraphal hung back, and just stared at Naruto's back for a moment. He seemed taller now, like a weight had been taken from his back. A broad-shouldered man walked with her little sister and her friends like a hero coming home from a long, hard fight. A small blush crossed Seraphal's face, the source of which she couldn't decide. He has a really nice laugh. Hey, wait for me. As the troop headed back to their temporary home, Naruto felt at peace for the first time in quite a while. Something had struck him as he watched the group of kids he was charged with protecting. Maybe he couldn't get home. Maybe he was stuck here. Maybe that's the way it was meant to be? Was this what family felt like? This sense of purpose and warmth. Maybe this is where he belonged. By their side, Rias looked at the man that had guarded her for almost 4 years, and a blush washed over her face. He looked so at ease. So happy. She had only seen his face this relaxed a few times over the time she had known him. It was nice. Naruto stopped walking as something shifted in the alley to his left, and dropped the bags in his hands. It had been a nice day out too. Expecting some form of attack, the blonde was shocked when a diminutive blonde girl stumbled from the alley. Naruto rushed forward and caught her before she landed face first. "Seraphol, get over here," the shinobi shouted, only to be met with silence. Turning back, he noticed something incredibly off. Everything was frozen. The banners in the wind, the sway of the trees. His friends and charges in mid-step. My, twice in 2 days. A familiar dark voice echoed from the alley walls. Naruto pulled the young girl closer to himself. This was really not good. "What did you do? Why is everything stopped?" Naruto demanded. "He need to get everyone away from here. Seraphol could fight this guy no problem, as could he. But the girls, you must understand, mortal. The cause of the world's current state is not me, but the half-breed on your hands." A bone-white finger carelessly pointed at the young girl in Naruto's arms and made him freeze. "This little thing? How? A curse of humanity if I've ever seen one. Sicking that one of my kin would breed with you disgusting bugs." Curse of humanity? Half-breed? She's half-human. A sacred gear. Naruto realized. There were a few sacred gear that could possibly do this, most of which would only affect the target once, or only those with the same power base as the user. But why wasn't Naruto affected? Why wasn't the other vampire? "Ah, so you understand. Let me dispatch this taint on my mind, and I shall allow you free passage. For now at least." The dark being chuckled, low and demeaning. Naruto created a clone and in a strange bot of deja vu, passed the blonde to his copy. "I don't take kindly to the loss of innocent life." Naruto spoke forcefully. He could worry about the technicalities later. This guy was becoming a pain, and it was time to put an end to him. Naruto sped forward, intent on making the first move, a knife flashing into his hand from his sleeve. Blood splattered across the alley as the knife bit into the being's flesh. A dark laugh was the vampire's reply, a strong right hand coming up and connecting with Naruto's cheek. A half step back is all it caused, but Naruto could taste the light copper in his mouth. This guy was really strong. "Come on, mortal. Fight me, hit me, give me everything you have." The vampire closed the small distance between them and knifed its left hand forward, sharp nails leading the charge. Naruto deflected the strike with a swift shift of the arms, dragging his knife up the extended arm as it passed. Blood coated the ground, as a scream of pain was his reward. It may be strong, but it was also linear and predictable. Naruto lashed out with a kick and forced the dark being to collide with an alley wall, a small crater forming in the structure. "Boss." Naruto looked back at his clone and saw the movement of the world continue, as the others looked around in confusion. "Seraphol, get the kids out of here." Naruto called out to the female Mao. She looked at him in confusion only for her eyes to widen in shock. "Naruto." The blonde spun and grabbed the wrist of the hand that had intended to impale him. With a quick shift of his feet, Naruto swung the black-haired vampire of his shoulder and cratered the ground at his feet. The vampire coughed up blood as the effects of the full-force body slam racked through him. "Go, now, I can handle this prick," Naruto shouted over his downed opponent. He didn't see the nod Seraphol sent his way, his arm coming up to block the kick the vampire had swung up from its prone position. A flash of red and yellow signaled the successful retreat of Seraphol with the girls, his clone following after. Naruto leapt back and flashed through 3 seals, then slammed his hand on the ground. 6-dimensional ceiling barrier. His voice echoed off the walls as they took a blue tone. The vampire pulled itself from its impacted crater and took on the off-shade of the surrounding buildings. "Don't bother running. I've sealed this alley. It's just me and you, asshole," Naruto informed. He was glad he had kept up his training, taking weekends to expand on what he already knew. Barrier magic was almost the same as sealing, intrinsic arcane runes combined with energy. Taking what he knew from his time with Jiraiya, and the sealing arts he had been gifted by the Sage of Six Paths, he had been able to form something close to a personal form of Fuinjutsu. "I see. That just means I'll have to kill you before going after that stain." The vampire growled. This human was far better than it expected. Never before had it been so soundly handled. "Who are you? Why are you after that girl? Why were you in the forest?" Naruto asked. It may not answer, but it never hurt to try. My name is Vladimir Tepa of Wallachia. That boy was the only sire of my daughter's line. He is a stain on my name and honor, and he must be killed. The vampire replied. Humans would never understand, they never learned. Naruto felt shock was over him. So he had suspected correctly. Vladimir Tepa, Prince of Wallachia. Lord Impaler. Count Dracula, the perceived precursor to all vampires. History has you as dead, son of the devil. Naruto stated, another knife appearing in his other hand. This is why the man felt so vile. He was lost in his actions. Truly this man was darkness incarcerate. I would have been, had one of the devil tribe not saved me from that cursed professor. I took great pride in hunting his line down for his transgressions. A cruel smile crossed Vladimir's face, a hollow look deep in his eyes. Empty, cold. The Lord Impaler ran forward, intent on bringing Naruto to an end, only for the blonde to dodge his extended arm, and reply with a swift jab to the midsection. Naruto immediately followed that with a harsh overhand haymaker to the cheek, before he stick the two knives he carried into the stumbling vampire's side. He made sure they dug in deep, before yanking them out with a savage pull. Vladimir roared in both pain and anger, confusion starting to settle in. How was this human keeping up with him? He was a vampire, now a half-devil as well. There should be no competition. With a cry of anger, the disposed prince or Wallachia came forth, raining blows upon the blonde in a frenzy. Or trying to anyway. Naruto weaves between the attacks like water around stone, flashing out with his knives every so often to leave a gash or swallow cut in its wake. Finally having enough, Naruto gave a harsh straight kick to the vampire and watched as the son of the devil was electrocuted by the ceiling barrier. Naruto put away his knives as Vlad struggled to his feet, a slight smoke rising from him. Rage burned in the former prince's eyes, as drool and spittle dropped from his mouth. Good, nice and angry. Now come at me, Naruto thought as he saw Vladimir stand. A roar of anger signaled the charge and Naruto shifted his weight. He wanted to time it just right. As the knife-like hand edged closer to his face, Naruto stayed frozen, his eyes locked on his target. It was over in a moment. A warmth passed through Vladimir that he had not felt in a very long time. Blood pooled in his mouth and a harsh cough racked his form. Naruto was bathed in a golden light, his arm through the chest of a man-made nightmare. He steadied the count as the man grew weak in the knees. It had been for just a second. Just a moment, but Naruto saw it. That look in his eyes. I am sorry, Vlad. So sorry for what you have suffered. Naruto whispered softly. As a man, Vladimir had suffered cruelty. As a monster, Count Dracula has suffered hate and anger. In one way or another, this poor man had been forced to suffer throughout his life. And he just wanted it to stop. Gah! Vlad coughed up another mouthful of blood as an easy expression took over his face. It hurt, far more than he thought it would, death. But it felt so peaceful. What do you know of suffering? How would this mortal know anything of his pain? Naruto slowly lowered both himself and Vladimir to the ground, his arm coming from the vampire's chest slowly. Vladimir gave a hacking cough as Naruto's hand exited the hole in his chest, the golden glow fading from his form as he lay the vampire on his back. Naruto picked up one of Vladimir's hands, and slowly eased his chakra into the dying man's extremity. Vladimir gasped as emotions he had long buried came rushing forth. The joy of laughter, the warmth of sunlight. A passion of love and peace bloomed in his chest as tears began to leak from his eyes. What? The vampire tried to question it, tried to rationalize it in some way, but the words wouldn't come. Naruto used his free hand to whip the lone tear that trailed down his face, the images of Vladimir's life taking a beating on Naruto's heart. So much tragedy, so much anguish, so much pain for 600 years that this man had been forced to carry with no help in sight. This is a gift I grant you in death, Lord Tepa. You have been scared and broken. It is the least I can offer you. Naruto spoke lowly as tears continued to spill down Vladimir's face. These faces. He tried once more, his voice and vision failing. I didn't want you to agonize in your final moments. It had hurt, living through the cruelty and pain this man had wrought and lived through. But he had seen the look in his eyes, the desperate cry for death that rung out in his desperate roar. This man begged for death, for release. And Naruto would give it to him. No one deserves to die in agony. Why? The no-life king tried to sound forceful, only to sound as if pleading. Naruto let out a bitter smile, a hollow chuckle leaving him. Call it being in a good mood. Vladimir looked at this man, this mortal, and was surprised at the look in his eyes. It wasn't malice or anger, hate or annoyance. This boy, he understood. You saw, the count accused, and Naruto simply nodded. Humanity is cruel. We hunt and destroy those we don't understand, and we hate those that don't not bend to our wills. We commit atrocities and cause so much pain. Naruto said, watching as Vladimir's eyes slowly drooped. But there is good in us. Even those lost in the darkness. Even you. I'm sorry you lost your light, Lord Teppa. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. Me. The vampire would have snorted if he could continue to force himself to breathe. A small smile crossed his face. The memories of an evening long gone, spent with his wife and children, came to his mind. How pretentious. Naruto sighed as the last vestiges of life left the former prince, and let his barrier drop. He took in the damage to the alley and the body of one of the few vampires that amounted to legend. This would just make things more complicated. Flashback end. It had made things much more complicated. The councils had somehow caught wind of Naruto's involvement in the loss of dozens of acres in woodland. That and the damage to business holdings one of the lower families by the alley Naruto had fought, it made them immediately cry out for his punishment. Searsex had upheld the councils to let Naruto make his case, which led to now. Naruto looked at the young blonde boy that he had saved from the age-old count. He seemed shy, resevered, terrified. Naruto on his most disarming smile as he slowly approached the boy. He had been given a few minutes to speak with the boy before he was due in the council chamber. Hello, Naruto said softly as he walked into the doorway. May I come in? The young boy looked at him in fear for a moment, before recognition flashed in his eyes. Ah, you're that man. The boy tilted his head to the side a little, his hands bunching up the blanket that covered most of his form. My name is Naruto. I found you in that alley. Do you remember what happened? Naruto slowly approached the bedside, stopping a few feet shy when the boy in the bed scoot led closer to the opposite edge of the bed. I was being chased. There was this man. He was so cruel, so angry. He said he wanted to kill me. Tears began to fill the boy's eyes, only to gasp when a pair of arms wrapped around him. He looked up and took in the sad smile on Naruto's face. It's okay, he won't be coming after you anymore. Naruto slightly tightened his hug as the tears in the boy's eyes doubled. The child wrapped his arms around Naruto's waist and began to sob. He took my mom, he took her. I tried to help, but he came after me. The boy screamed, sorrow and heartache echoing in his voice. Naruto just rocked the boy a little, holding him close as he let the pent-up anguish and pain in his heart loose. A soft shushing coming from the older blonde. It's okay, it's okay. Naruto sighed as he sat outside the doors of the main meeting hall. Both councils were inside, preparing to hear his statement, but Naruto's mind was elsewhere. Gaspar Vladi. That was his name. Naruto had been able to coax it out of the boy after a few minutes, and it had taken longer still for the boy to allow him to leave his side. After many promises of returning, he had made his way here. Uzumaki-san, the council will see you now. A deep voice called from the door, breaking Naruto from his thoughts. Ah, thank you. One moment please. Naruto stood and straightened out the borrowed suit he had gotten from Searsex. Something about looking the part. A relaxing breath and Naruto marched to the door. Hopefully, this could be over soon.
That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share and do comments.